between, having whether it's a pre-package of brand activations or customized brand activation based off of a client need. Once you've heard a problem, then we can help solve for that problem. Capacity becomes a whole different thing, in terms of if we can actually, carry those projects to the end, because we just look at, okay, all right, we know you want just broad general brand awareness, or there's a need, but are we gonna now look at trying to, drive leads, or, create an actual customer for these sponsors? Like how are we being measured?
That's part of what this overall process has to consider. Because as we think of these avatars and what the product is of CNW Media, is the product of this company lead generation for them? Is it just data on what these people buy? What is it that we're actually saying that we can deliver in these packages? Not just the advertising on the digital or the print.
Experience.
What is it that we deliver? Because when you talk about brand activation, they're gonna say, okay, so are we looking for 200 leads or 20 leads from this event? So as we talk about this pitch deck, and as we talk about the sponsorship, what I hear you saying is, how do we look at this in terms of how we can tell the avatar, here's a gap, i.e. that's a void. Here's a value, that's what we have, and how do we show them that we have that value? Because they're always only gonna be saying, that's me.
Right.
You're gonna say who it is, and they're gonna say, yeah, that's me. Or you're gonna say, no, that's not. So if you don't get it right, they say no, which means they don't buy it.
Right.
So our question is, to your point, that's why I wanted you to stop at brand activation, because that's what needs to show up in here.
Sure.
And from your experience, what do we need to bring to the table for them to want to activate with CNW Media? For all of these amazing possibilities, whether it's these reverse pitches, or, and I don't think we talked about this to you, down here were the missed opportunities that we identified as potential products that can be delivered.
Right.
So if we take these two combined, how do we take that and put it into these missed opportunities? And how do we then put that into the sponsorship and the pitch deck to be able to activate the brand?
Right.
That's what we want to be able to do.
Yes. Wow. I like it a lot. I get so much out of sitting at the table and collaborating. Or brain share, brainstorm.
In the real.
No, in the true sense of it, though, right? Because it's ideation is happening.
The problem with using words, but with using words, my thought is that words mean something.
Sure.
Words have power, they have
And
meanings.
in specifically in our world,
Where they really should mean something.
I have an opportunity to sit a lot and listen to people who just used a whole bunch of words, most of which didn't mean anything of what they were trying to say, and they actually just didn't really say anything. They use a lot of words.
Word salad.
I used to have a lot of
It's word salad, but they're very specific with, it's so jargon heavy.
Right.
Conversations now are so jargon filled. Especially when you have educated people. They're so super educated.
Unfortunately, the educational system at the higher level.
All
is
they're doing is
intentional.
teaching them, to say a bunch of words to sound higher than everyone else, and you really just, what'd you say, right? What did you just say? What did you just say?
Yeah, so if I have to ask you, what did you just say? One of the rules is to write at a third grade level and present at a fifth to seventh grade level. Beyond that, people don't hear you. So if you start talking higher than that, most of the people are having a difficult time understanding you, regardless of whether you're a doctorate or whatever.
Right.
So just so I can be clear about why I have a problem with that. In our area, the people who are doing that, people who are so about their journalism, and I listen to them all the time, and I'm like, you don't have to sell any ads to anybody
Mhm.
at all. Because if you go in there and you're trying to sell ads and you're talking like that to the advertisers, you just sold nothing,
Right.
right? You sold nothing.
You gotta
And
connect.
so these are all people who are they live in the philanthropy world, which is going to dry up for them very soon. And they're lost because they don't know how to do that. They don't know how to talk to people. They don't know how to do any of those things, and they don't know. So they just don't know.
Mhm.
So I'm very adamant about this and steering us into real land because we're not that.
Okay.
We do have to sell our stuff. People do need to buy our stuff, and just plain and simple, right? So that's it. It's not that I have this elitist thing about it, although it just drives me nuts when I'm listening to them.
Mhm.
But there's a practical side to it too, which is, yeah, can't sell that. Nobody's buying that.
And
Oh.
also, okay, sorry.
Yeah, that's it.
I was gonna say, and so the other side of that, from the editorial reference for me, and if you read our paper, you'll see there's a section now called AI. I just take it very personal that we're talking to people and they don't really know what they're talking about, what they mean in the sense of the words that they have chosen.
Mhm.
So when you say, what, I always ask people, well, what does that mean to you?
Mhm.
They don't know because, and I say this all the time to them, so they've heard it before. Today, because they are no longer teaching vocabulary in the public schools, most people are learning vocabulary words or the meanings in context of a conversation. So they don't realize that it has 3 different definitions, how you use it, what it means, when it should be used or anything. They use it just as they have heard it. And they think they know what it means, but when you break it down, what are you really trying to convey right here? They cannot do it.
Right.
So that's why it irritates me, and it's important to understand words, what they really mean.
Realizing we may come off as not.
I am a snob,
But
I'm a
it's
nice
because
snob.
we're
I am.
passionate about
No,
these
I
things
actually
for a
feel
reason.
as if
I am.
that's not the word. I feel like it's very intentional to reach your heroes.
Yeah,
And in order to reach your heroes, because they are a different type of person. They do think very differently.
Yes.
And in order to reach them, because that's why they haven't done it, the heroes in our community buy as a part of who they are, but not because they really have been targeted.
mhm.
And
Right.
what we're saying is that you're missing
Mhm.
a whole group of people who we are aware of.
I'll give you an example. This group here, right? This group right here,
Mm-hmm.
these men, right, who are heroes,
Mm-hmm.
who are all those things, and they're very successful, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
He drives a pickup truck. He drives a I forgot, Hyundai or a Kia, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he has a Genre has a SUV kind of truck like the Nissan. You know, it's the SUV, but it's a
I'm not up.
whatever. They have, but they wear custom suits.
Mm-hmm.
They wear, you know, they're going to have Patek watch, right? They're going to have these types of things where they put their money in things that gain
Good shoes.
in value. They're always going to have on good shoes, right? And not in those other things. So targeting them with your products and the things that you have, you know what I mean? Your
products, your
items that are
services.
elevated, because that's how they think. It's not about, I mean, you're not gonna see any one of those people riding by in a Lambo.
That's not where it's. First of all, it's too flashy.
It's also not a smart
And it's
investment.
not. But here, this is what I
So
did.
this is what, you get a feeling they're successful people, but they're smart. And they know what they want they know what they wanna read, they know what they wanna discuss, they know what they wanna talk about. They don't have a long time to engage in conversations that are circular.
Empty and meaningless.
Yeah, where you just said 35 words to say, oh, I just didn't feel good this morning. You just said, I just didn't feel good this morning. Or, oh, I'm feeling great today. Oh, actually, you know, sun rose up on this side and the other. Da, 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 da. I mean, it's just as much about not digging into that deep word salady stuff as it is when you're standing there and you're saying, how are you today? And say, Grand Rising Queen. It's the same
I
thing.
love the
It just-
Grand Rising, oh my goodness.
No, but you know where it
Yes.
goes. You know
Yeah, I know
where
where
it
it
goes.
That's a whole
It
different-
goes off into this whole thing just to say,
Have
have a great day,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or it's the same thing over here. It's like, so we're just
I
breaking
love
it back down. So it's not
Spendy,
really
it's been so
elitist.
So
It's
can I-
not elitist. It's actually,
It's a respect. for someone's-
Identifying, it's actually identifying. Part of being
it's
strategic
valuing their time.
is identifying what it is. They don't look for the fluff.
Mhm.
Part of the issue is they don't have time for the fluff. And part of it is they don't have a desire for the fluff. So when you bring it to them, they're kind of like, yeah, okay, I know who you are. And now they're
She used a lot of words and then.
and they turn their head. So that's what we want to make sure that these guys know that those people are reading CNW media, the newspaper, the digital, they're coming to the events because they want to get to them. One of the things I did was I just asked for some research. So I did some research just to see what would be like the kind of companies that are in Chicago that would potentially be looking for our heroes. And it was in luxury goods, it was Neiman Marcus, that was on retail. In advertising platforms, it was Cranes. In real estate, Magellan Development. And for digital, they would do digital and print for real estate, for Magellan Development. For travel, Signature Travel, and they also do digital and TV. For health and fitness, Equinox Fitness Clubs. They do health, they do both digital and print.
I love it.
And of course, everybody knows Leo Burnett, and they use everything.
Yeah.
But I wanted to just say, just a quick look in where we would possibly even be finding the people who would pay the money, because we're moving out of the philanthropic world and into the business world of paid advertising, and paid advertising to get to, right, to get to your people. That's what this is. So one of the tools, the jobs to do is to actually take each one of these avatar groups and then pull the names of the groups in each one of these avatars. Not just, Lexus, but they drive trucks, so let's go get the Chevys and the Fords. They buy trucks. Now they may, as they say, trick their truck, so it's got everything on it.
And my guess is that that's not their own car.
It's most likely not their only car,
I mean,
It's there every day.
Cheryl.
but this is what they drive.
Right.
And so looking at them from what are their current needs,
Mhm.
which is what they value, but also what are their violations. These people came, a lot of them come from nothing. A lot of them pull themselves up.
Mhm.
So they got violations that they're feeling, that they still carry, that if you bring these guys to them, they're gonna want it.
So I think this is an opportunity for us to look at the avatars in a totally different way. I'm gonna just start, I've got a job, Cheryl's memory. Remember, we're at Chicago Pender, and Gorin had the opportunity to work with those financial people, and they were dealing with a certain angle. They wanted to reach the black woman, and came up with, the idea of, mothers and their daughters, because to, establish the concept of legacy, financial legacy building. Those are kind of things that I'm talking about that we can do. We have to look at each of the avatars and then bring them, because it really is an event. They don't know how to reach the people, and trying to just do blind advertising, this over here, there, it's not gonna work. If we're saying we have these people, then how do we gather them together so you're not doing 1,000 different pitches or throwing paint on the wall?
And
But
that's
we're saying
exactly right.
we can pull them together. That's what I mean by our event thing. That's the way we can do it that other people are not doing it. Apparently the way that they're doing it right now in the world is not working.
Right,
Because
but
they
that's
are
what I'm
close.
saying, when you look at these missed opportunities, that's where your signature events will be.
Okay.
But they will pull
From that.
from those guys, and then that's who you will go after for
Right.
your paid sponsorships. Because you pull these guys and you say, okay, we're gonna create, you already got the newsletter, you've already got your website.
Mhm.
Now you're bringing in your sales strat, you're giving them the strategy around what you wanna do, right? What does the PR say about CNW? How's it talk about you out there? And then, let's take these workshops, events, podcasts, and say, these are the 6 events we're gonna do. Why will it make sense for those guys? And then we put a list of all the medical people, all the real estate people, all the automotives, and why it makes sense. Cause there'll be some consistencies of
Yeah.
why it makes sense. And then your sponsorship package will talk about those voids, violations, and values. That will be specific. So maybe you have a sponsorship package for automotive that talks different from one for mental health.
Absolutely. They have to all be different.
So that you actually, when you know that you're pitching one versus the other, it's not a broad sweep.
Mm.
So that it feels very personalized and customized to them.
And also, I think it's very important, so just stay with me on this, is that creating these events, how, it's about the treatment of them. I want them to, it's an experience, because this is real, what she said, Maya Angelou said, people are not gonna remember so much what you say, but how you made them feel. So if we create these events and people leave there feeling, well, we're not selling them,
Mhm.
we are, what are we doing? We're embracing them.
We're valuing them.
We're
showing
valuing
their value.
them. They're gonna be in it. They're
But
gonna
that's
be
why I
in it.
said that quiet luxury is the perfect
Yes, that's
description
exactly.
of that.
We want
and
them
then
to
she-
experience.
And then you turn around and you serve those people to your sponsors. So you have to craft these experiences. You have to say, what are we gonna, at the bare minimum, provide in 2025 that we're going to sell?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta pick those and then craft them so that they look like, to your point, so they look like, what is it gonna take? What is it gonna cost us? How much do we need? Who do we need in order to provide those experiences in the way you described? Because that's the money that you're gonna need to get from those guys.
Yeah, and it really works, because there's a lot of things, I mean, I don't know what's going on now, but I remember when Nordstrom's did like it was like a party at Nordstrom's when they first, people were invited to the meeting, we went in and they had the swag bags for you, but it was an experience, and they weren't pushing anything, they were just like introducing the news story. You go in, you, all this stuff, you get to try. They had the what do you call them, the fashion consultants there and all kinds of stuff. You got real perfume. Anyway, it was an experience. That got me, and everybody else. And then you had the opportunity if you wanted to shop, right? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. The experience, but they weren't selling you and they weren't trying to make you sell. It's just like, oh, this is available to you if you want to, right?
I mean,
Just
think about, to your point, Cheryl, think about the men that wear custom suits. One of my mentors was talking about the fact that he had bought a bunch of custom suits and they were pouring down. And then he got a call from woman who said, hey, you know, my company does custom suiting, and was just wondering if you were in the market. And he said, well, actually, I bought some, but I don't really like them. And she said, well, our tailor will come to you, and he will measure you, and we will show you the fabric, and you can pick them out. He said, I probably spent $100,000 with her own suits, just because she showed up at my door.
What's the name of that, company? They're at Oak Street and, what is that, Rush? Right over there, oh gosh, and they do semi-custom suits. Do you know what I'm talking about? So they're a national brand, they do semi-custom suits, so it's the shell of the suit, right? And then you can do whatever, you know, the liner, what do you want on the liner?
And the pocket
Everything is
square
done,
and-
everything is made, and even for women business suiting, they'll take one and cut it down in the same thing, right? Somebody like that who has that kind of, presence and budget, right?
Mhm.
But that could be an awesome way to be able to introduce our audience to them.
And that's what I'm saying, if you
And
look
it's not
at
a black owned business, I'm not gonna be caught up in the black owned.
no, this is
No.
not about
We're
the
doing the
ownership
experience.
of your
Right.
avatar. It's
Right.
about the avatar
Because
wanting
I'm
to
not
get to your
Cause we can do
clientele.
that, and then right behind there is gonna come Cam and Nate or whoever, you know, be like, why you didn't do that with us?
Enzo,
We're
Huh?
not limited.
Enzo, the palm one, Enzo Custom,
Is that the name?
No, no. Indochino.
Indochino, okay, yeah, I just saw them.
And if you think of it from that point, just like you just now, like you hone
And
in
they
on that
focus
guy.
on, I think they focus on work, professional work suiting, right? So they're not a tuxedo, or they're not this or that, I think it's Indochino, and they do professional, yeah. But then you can enter in, you know, there's everything from having your shirts made, right? Which is not that, I mean, it's a little bit more pricey, but
But the fact
They
that
last.
it's custom and they
don't
last.
gain a whole bunch of weight, you know what I mean? Or lose a whole bunch of weight, cause now you got a problem, right? But
Yeah,
if
but
you're,
you stay in that, and a lot of these guys will be healthy, and you could tie into fitness. Like there's a whole,
for men's, right, a whole men's.
and then it
a
actually
whole
will lead
Dapper Dan
into
event,
the part
right?
of what you do on the digital and the print in terms of the lifestyle and how you maintain your care and take care of yourself.
When is the Met?
What?
The
When's
Met Met?
The
The Met Gala?
Isn't it
I think-
May?
I was gonna say it's next month.
Yeah,
It's
it's
next month? May.
I thought it passed.
Do we got time?
I
No,
just-
the Vogue issue is out, or is
Okay.
coming
I
out.
just watched one.
Was it the Black Dandy?
No, it isn't
That
done
was
yet. I
last
saw the
year.
Vogue issue. You're
No, it's
right.
not this year.
I thought
Yeah,
the Black
that's the
Panther
vote.
was last year.
No, that's the issue. The last
Oh,
one was
it's coming right now,
spring
it's coming
in
up.
the something.
This,
Oh,
this
okay.
one or something in the garden or something
Yeah,
like
it
that.
was spring in the
This-
garden or something. It came with trees.
The something, cause it was like dead to coming to life. or
Yeah, it
whatever.
was
Yeah.
real, it was
It
really
was,
weird.
it was weird. But this is the Black Dandy,
Yeah, I just
right?
saw it like
so
last
they're
weekend.
doing the Black Dandy Vogue issue.
That's true. I even just
Y'all
looked
feel
up
like-
dandyism to see how it impacted both men and women this past
What?
weekend.
Think about
Because of
the
Dan-
pictures
Dan-
in Chicago with
Dan
those
is what-
boys
I love that photo.
sitting on the on the
On the
thing
car.
on
Oh,
Sunday
you mean my favorite, one of my favorite
boys on the car with
all-time
their Sunday
photos.
Mhm.
with
Yeah,
their thing,
I
and
love
he said, I wonder if we could do something, an issue like that.
For sure we can.
Absolutely, for so
then-
many people right now, it'd be perfect.
Yeah, and then go hit the you know, Cameron B, all of them, right? And say, come, come to our stores, you know what I mean, and sell some ads behind that,
Mhm.
just fashion ads
Imagine
or
just
whatever.
doing a Black Dandy event. Because the sponsors would pay for it. And that way the men could come dressed. You could invite that, what is that group, there's an after five group of men that are very well dressed, they're traveling.
The gathering, well,
Can't
the
think of-
gathering of gentlemen,
I can't think, yes,
the
The
gathering
radio
of gentlemen.
yeah, and just,
Huh?
so,
The
It's
Gathering of
I
Gentlemen
think that's
is
what it's
here in
called.
Chicago, so he's
Oh.
over that.
And just put
So-
that all together. That would be a signature event that's not being done in Chicago.
They stopped doing them. I used to go to Tribune events and they were so great, but they were not obviously black centered. I think I went to one that was like Barrel Night and it was sponsored by Woodford Reserve and they had cigar rollers.
Yeah.
Woodford, and they had cigar rollers and they had
So are you not writing on
ice,
this?
ice sculpture. I'll never forget the event. I went to all of them. I don't need to write that down. But they had ice sculptures and sushi, like it was, oh my God, they had G Wang, he made custom suits, he was there. And they had all kinds of things in the activation that was geared towards like Havana in the summertime meets luxury or something like that. I think that was their goal. And it was just, Tribune events used to be so great, I don't know why. And I never had to pay, so I can't tell you how much they cost, but
Love
they were beautiful.
it. Great old fashioned, great man.
And that's kind of what
Correct.
the Red Eye was for a long time. Remember the Red Eye had,
Yeah, it was.
and then
Something
they ran out
happened.
of money, I guess.
But I'm saying that could be, as we talk about how to activate,
Mhm.
those kinds of things is exactly what we want to slot in as events that would then drive who you sell to.
Absolutely.
So can I be really literal really fast? Audience profile, like household income, if we were to kind of check the boxes here, household income.
Mhm.
What would we say, what are our broad strokes for family of homeowners, yes.
Can you give them
It
that?
says 75.
Owner owns multiple
She
vehicles.
get ready to pull the
Okay,
data.
okay, gotcha, thank you.
So we just had a study that was done, by Northwestern, Medill School of Journalism.
Oh, we need one more persona before next week.
One more persona
Yeah,
and a demographic profile,
my back
who our
is moving.
reader is, to that.
You know,
But, and we email.
yeah,
Email,
yeah, we do. Most
with
of the
lots
time.
of room to, lots of room to open that back up.
Right.
Yeah, especially looking at the Impact Awards, because there were a lot of women there.
What you got?
A lot of
That's the hard, that's the
I
soft
don't
plan
have that. I
research.
don't have that.
Yeah, you do. In your purple folder?
I probably did have it, doesn't mean I still do have it, I have this one. The example highlights, but anyway, keep going. I think if we look to do something like that during the summer, that time is, looking for, that's a time that's actually looking for something.
Mm-hmm.
So what used to be there, which is kind of passé now and whatever, is the big thing was the dinner en blanc, you know what I mean, and everybody was going to that, and there was the whole
White.
thing of it.
Well, they've done so
Right.
much white that.
That's played out,
Ugh.
so let's give it something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's give something else, let's give this party, right?
There's another thing that just popped in my head just this second.
It might be a good place to go on that rooftop deck. But maybe it might be too hot in the summertime
To wear a full suit.
for,
Mhm.
You'd have to put them in the inside.
Just do
suit.
a linen
Suit.
party.
that's not,
That's it.
no,
But we want to pick up on this dandyism and.
Oh, I see.
So that would be, the linen party might lean more towards what I was just thinking. Remember the movie, and I wanna say it's the summer of '42, but it's not. It's the movie that, what's his name? The brown faced dude.
Black or white?
Black. I think his name starts with an L. Shoot,
Lorenzo.
that's him. There was a movie
Inkwell.
That's what,
You talking about Inkwell?
that's it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, when they went to
They went to like the Hamptons or something like
Martha's Vineyard,
Martha's
yeah.
Vineyard.
The Inkwell and Martha's
But do
Vineyard.
something like that in Chicago. Chicago's got all the beaches, they've got all these places that you could bring these guys to in the summer. That could be a summer event.
What guys do?
These guys,
The Avatar, oh, those guys?
those guys.
Well, they
Our
go
covers?
to Pier 31 a lot.
And the other one on the end.
Right, they do the boating, they do all of that kind of thing.
They go to Pier.
But I'm saying, when we're talking about how these guys can get to them, are they there at Pier 31 when these guys are there?
So
Maybe, no,
that doesn't work because now you're selling them again. You got,
No, I'm just, it's not so much as a sale, we're thinking, what would they attend and what would they pay for?
so let's say, I'm just gonna throw this out. So let's say we throw a party at Porsche or Mercedes. They
now,
come in,
now you're talking.
there,
Now
and
they
the
coming.
champagne's going, whatever, they are just there having a party, but we're also presenting our audience to Mercedes. And these
Right.
people can write
And they're
a
getting
check.
ready to show up,
And
they're
they're
getting to show
all their
off
stuff,
their
but it's a
cars.
party, no pressure, but they're there because they wanna be there.
So then that's gonna be exclusive to one dealer.
Possibly, right? I mean, it could be-
Possibly if they-
the-
if
the
they-
experience is.
You go in and you sell it to that dealership and they're like, yeah, this on them, the other ones can do it too if they want to, I don't care. I don't
So
know.
then it
That's
So
what
then we
That's
do
not- that's not
them,
to
and
say
then
no,
we
I'm
also
just
bring
saying,
in
then it
Mont
But it's
and
not-
we
then it
also bring in,
becomes-
huh?
Right, it's
a
not necessarily a
gift
signature
that an
event, it's more of a
automotive
custom
dealership can
experience.
pay for.
The customer
Yes.
And
experience.
each one, yeah, but then to her
There you go,
point,
talk about
then
it.
it becomes a event that any one of them, so you design the event, but you can hold it at Porsche, and then you can hold it at Mercedes, and then you can hold it at Lexus. It's an event that has all of these pieces in it.
Like
Right.
reusable, a
Right,
reusable
right.
formula.
This is the formula, you wanna buy it, it costs X, we bring the people. And so it can go to multiple locations or multiple brands.
Mhm.
And then the other brand activation would be the jewelry, the drink,
Yes.
the cigars, all whatever else you wanna bring
We do it in
into.
the winter,
Right, or add on. to
and
the
then we
experience.
have the,
Exactly.
what's my coat? Yeah, the Montclairs and the,
So now, thinking of it from that, then that becomes an actual C&W media event
Mhm.
that can be activated in multiple locations.
Right,
Mhm.
now we did like a summer, like yacht type of event. There could be trying to think of, cause if you do it customized, then you're talking about a smaller, attendance. But if it's a,
Sometimes they
if
don't
it's a
mind a
CNW,
smaller event if it's something that is going to, especially if it's a high, if the thing that if the thing that the Avatar is selling is a high ticket item, they're not looking for a massive audience. They're looking for the right audience.
Mhm.
So then it might not necessarily be a bad thing if there's a smaller audience, if the feeling is that those people that are there are able to do that high ticket purchase.
but are we thinking that we are facilitating this initial event to kind of make the broader brand kind of pitch that, hey, we're in this space?
Yes.
Or,
We are
okay,
in this space.
well, we are in this space, this is an experience you can expect from us.
Mhm.
Right.
And we can create this, and this looks like a yacht with the most exclusive 15 people that you would ever want to be in front of because you are, an insurance agent, a legacy insurance agent type of client,
An estate planner.
an estate planner.
Right, and
But-
so you
but-
might put three
What's the
different types
That's
of,
right.
My-
services
Uh-huh.
in that event. The
Estate.
estate planner, like give them three different things, so the heroes feel service, they feel valued, and then the avatars feel that exclusivity. Now go back to the exclusivity side for them, because once you start elevating it to that level, they're gonna wanna pay for exclusivity, because I don't wanna be with my competition. So it might cost me to get this, cause I'm the only one there. and I love that. So that also means that your intellectual property of your mailing list and the attendees becomes very, very valuable.
Mhm.
Because then they're like, well, can we get in the newsletter? Can we advertise in digital? Can we actually talk to those people? And it starts to add dollar value to the actual intellectual property of the contact list.
So what is our approach towards events outside of this space when we look at activating? Are we hiring a activation firm, or are we now as CNW now managing the events, managing the guests when they walk through the door, we're doing registrations, we're doing, someone from the team is managing a photo booth in this sector.
So,
How does that look for us?
so
Execution.
ideally, there will be some alternate assistance because we do not want to carry the full lift, but we want to be in charge of, or organizer and project management and all of that, and making sure that it is crafted the way that we want it to be.
Mhm.
But service-wise, no, we do not have to do layout, any step and repeats, do any of that. You might not even need a step and repeat. Because what we have to do that's gonna be different is not what everybody else is doing,
Absolutely.
right? So it does not need to be another red carpet if I see another red carpet.
Peacock.
I don't care if they make it purple or they make it green, we might not need carpet.
You might need to.
Because if the floor is pristine and it's marble, because we're at McGrath, Mercedes or whatever, I don't need a carpet, right? So, no, we want to be able to be in a situation to have a team to do some of the bulk lifting, but the theme and design of it is gonna be our own, and that type of functionality will be on.
So our signature.
Yeah, so we'll make sure that can happen, but when you ask that question, what are you thinking about?
Just know that it's a lift to execute, right?
For sure.
On the event side of it, and it puts us in a different capacity, there's a load on
But
the
they
team.
pay for it. Yeah.
But again, I guess the differentiator is in this space, which I imagine is much easier for us to manage, right? But outside of this space, we've now gotta go on site for.
Oh, yeah, but we've done that already.
Well, the
Okay.
way I'm thinking it is that the avatar pays for it. That's what I mentioned,
Yeah.
When you're
the
putting,
financial
right,
folks,
it's
they
not us.
When you
were
put this
paying for
together,
your, they're
it's
paying
going
for
within that
for that,
sponsorship.
for the
Sponsorship.
luxury on the platter, that's what you're paying for.
Right.
You're bringing them all those people because they don't know how to reach them.
I'm with you. I'm clear that the sponsor is paying for everything,
Okay,
but they're coming to us to basically bring the right people and put the right people in the room.
exactly,
Exactly, okay.
yes.
Let
Okay.
me ask the question, so is your question more in terms of operational and production and the
Yes,
ability
that-
to do it?
Right,
Yes,
Okay,
so if we
Because
do
there's
something
some
like the dandy event,
partners that can do that, there are
Right.
other partners that can't.
correct. So if we were doing something like a dandy event, right, that's the Chicago News Weekly, Black Dandy,
Celebrates today.
Black Dandy, right, and we're gonna have it at Union Square, Union Station, in the new,
Rooftop.
Train. huh?
At the, in the Union Station. that was-
You know what I mean, or whatever, Union, whatever, I'm just,
photos.
Don't get
Coming
lost
up.
in those things, come
I'm
on.
just get cut, I'm
I
just
saw it.
cut,
I
I'm
saw
just
it.
cut up, I'm just,
Just, we're just,
so, or the
Throwing it
new
out.
post office, whatever.
Mhm.
Someplace that's cool, like that's us, right? Then we bring in partners and we bring in, we've got sponsors and and yes, you have the whole production team, that's a thing,
Okay.
right?
So we
If
would
we're
hire a production team.
We
would
hire
a
hire,
team.
of
All right.
course, we would
Gotcha.
hire.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm asking, okay, making sure.
That's why I said I want to
Yeah.
understand, if you're saying operational productionally, this is
Right.
not the team that's going to do
Correct,
that.
Right.
correct, I just wanted to be clear on that part of it and the size of it, right? Cause if
Yeah.
it's 15 people, that might look a little bit different
Right, but we wouldn't have something,
versus
Right.
150.
so
It's gonna be at
versus,
least-
yeah.
Yeah.
But for something like this, if we're having let's say Well, I'm gonna go talk to these Indochino people. We have the Indochino event,
Mm-hmm,
you know, an evening of, for the, and we invite the gathering of gentlemen,
mm-hmm.
which is, they got 75 dudes in their group alone. That's one called Phil Beckham, and it's done, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're all showing up, right? We're providing this exclusive group of males for you. The cost is, you know, $5,000 or whatever for an evening. You know, we'll provide champagne. Of course, we'll deal with the champagne girl, whatever, you know, and you can do, you know, it's an experience that you can have with these gentlemen for da-da-da, or we'll do Uncle Nearest, or we'll do a nice bourbon or whatever.
Or that hot towel
Okay.
barber situation or something.
Something like that,
Okay.
right? Then that's, we would charge Indochino for the, providing the audience.
Mhm.
We would provide whatever other, vendors that are there that will be, you know, making their
Mhm.
whatever. And then to the experience, and then Indochino would be the one that basically do however they,
Cause they're gonna want to design the part of how they deliver their product.
Right.
and their services and what they're doing, right?
But I think to his question, in terms of the management of the
That-
overall process on site,
Don't
that would have to be a production company. But to the underlying point for me is that as we pick out these events and say, okay, so for 2025, let's say we're doing 5 events before the end of the year.
Yeah,
I'm just giving it could be less, but
it will be less.
let's say we do 3, whatever it is. These are the 3 signature events we're doing between May 1st and December 15th. And with those events, we need X, Y, and Z in terms of production, in terms of operation, and in terms of sales. But what we also have to identify is the profit and the operational cost. So that we can then put together the price points, so that we might have a presenting sponsor. That's the person that may be either the location or like Encino or Encino, whatever their name is, and they're the presenting. But then we also would have some, in-kind sponsors who are bringing the alcohol.
Mhm.
But then we still might have some silver and some gold people that are actually doing cash to the company that's gonna support the overall cost of this event.
Mhm.
And that is what these packages will include, cause then the sponsorship will give them that digital and give them that print visibility, and then the activation at the event.
Right.
So we're taking all of that, so that's why I want us to identify what we're doing,
Mhm.
take those actual events and say, you know, throw out all your ideas, pick the ones we want, and then craft the event, so the event is actually crafted. Cause we already know we got digital, we already know we got print, we already know that. And to some extent, we know what the ads cost on either one in terms of to these guys, and how do we slot that in? So that when you step into a location, you're talking about not the money. You're talking about why it's valuable. We're bringing 75 of our heroes to a location, and they're simply focused on custom suiting. They're simply focused on cigars. They're simply focused on champagne, because that's their lifestyle. And that avatar is going, yeah, I'd like to get, if I can get 10 guys out of this 75, if I can get 7 guys out of here that are buying custom suits, it's gonna be worthwhile, because then they're gonna work to have a long-term relationship with those people. But you guys' job is just to get them in the door. So then on the back end, C&W is reaching out to all 75 guys. Hey, here's your personal invitation. Here's what we're doing, so that you can make sure they're in the room. That's the flip side of it. That make sense? Does that answer your
It
question?
does, it does, so signature events where we model, I mean, we've done this before as an organization, but this looks a little bit different because it's more of a, what we could consider an annual event potentially, right?
So,
Mhm.
Several.
yeah, so here's the thing. And I'm not pushing back on events, but I want it to be clear that our goal is to make sure we have all the money up front before anybody is contacted. Like, we know what we're going into, so I think that there are organizations and things that don't necessarily know how to make this happen because they don't have the money up front. It's important that we know that we already have the $45,000 we need for a large scale event before we even
Right.
create
That's right.
anything.
That part.
Also knowing that we will be starting I don't know what to call it, there's a business endeavor that we're working on in which we will host the ticket sales for other people and their events, right?
Okay.
So what's gonna separate us as CNW Media as one, we can be your event you are. There's different quality to it, right? Because look at the events that we've done. So most of the time I've been quiet because I'm thinking, okay, why do we need so many events? I'm tired of spending money. It just feels like a bleed, it's a burnout, it's crazy. However, it's not because we're gonna come into it with the understanding that we're gonna come in with the money and turn a profit, right? We're not trying to come out, but
No, not at all.
I get so tired of people that do events and then end up broke afterwards. It doesn't make sense to throw it if you don't end up broke that. Right?
And why not know what it's gonna cost you and then ask for the actual money on the
And you
front end?
ask for the actual money that you need, all of it. What you
So
need.
let's just go back to like a car dealership. They're
I'm trying to hear what she.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay, but what I'm saying is, so we're gonna host a space, but it's important for people to want, companies, organizations to want to house their events through us based on the quality of the events that we're throwing. That's why it's super important that we at least have 3 annual events. We have the award show, which we know we bank that, we have that, because people like to be celebrated, right? But then we also have some signature luxury events because our demographic suggests that that's what they need. That's not, those are offsite.
Mhm.
We can obviously showcase a multitude of things coming in and out of here that's in partnership. Notice I didn't say collaboration, right? In partnership with our audience, like the stuff that we're doing with BPN or those other places that are doing stuff.
Black man wellness.
But through all of those things, I think it's important that we, yes, sell the experience, but we sell 2 things every event at minimum. We're selling at least 2 products every time, right? So either we're selling our ability to cultivate quiet luxury and something else. I think we should always be selling 2 things.
The experience.
No,
Right.
that's the same thing.
Oh, here.
What I'm saying
Could you say
is,
that one more time?
we should be selling, if we're gonna have the Dandy event, for example,
Mhm.
we have to take care of our own self.
Where is it? Right.
Right?
Where's the money?
Where is the money and what are we also selling in addition to it?
Correct. So, besides selling the fact that it's an event,
Right.
what are we selling? Are we selling
Are we gonna sell?
Chicago News Weekly? Are we selling the publication itself?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Are we
saying.
selling that as a special issue that's glossy, this, you know what I mean, that's
It's a special.
that's a special keepsake edition with the Black Dandy? Are we selling, I mean, what goes
Yeah,
with
but
it?
we have to
I got
sell something.
I got that.
In
Well, that-
addition to
To,
it.
to really boost that will really puff up the advertising for that issue and really make the money off of, we have two separate streams of income on that,
Mhm.
Remember,
substantial streams
See,
of
I see all this differently.
And what-
remember the magazine that you showed me that, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago now? I wanna say Gallery or something like that, Galleria. It's a magazine, we were in the vendor's office. What if, to her point, It was a magazine, I don't know, it was a
Was it
magazine.
ours?
Yes, it was one it was yours. A
CD.
CD. That you put together some kind of Chicago Black Dandy,
Lookbook.
get something from that. Where
Mhm.
it can be captured from the event itself and sold to both those guys, but it also would be a product that, of course, if I'm in the book or if my group is in the book, I'm probably gonna buy the book. But it becomes something like a coffee table book that goes forward, keepsake or something, that becomes a piece
Mhm.
that you do every year. Cause you were saying you wanted to do
Yeah.
this as an annual event.
So, yes and no. So, you know, and this is gonna be a roundabout little kid story, okay, we'll get back to you. So do you remember, maybe y'all didn't have, I don't know, cause I'm younger than y'all. I would go to the circus, and at the circus, you could get that Barnum and Bailey book at the end of the circus. And I thought it was magic, because everything that was in the book had just happened. So in my mind, not knowing I was gonna be a journalist, I could not understand how this magazine could be created that quickly because it just happened. Who's
Already
printing this, right? So the way that I see it, if we're gonna do something like that, the people that are going to be within this space, we identify the tastemaker of 6, the top 6, let's say. And those are the people that are featured in that magazine, and you can buy that there. I don't want it to be a FOMO situation that you can buy later. No, while you're here, come in here, enjoy your time, whatever, get your hot towel facial, whatever, feel luxurious. Also celebrate yourself by this magazine. $75 because it's a special.
I think all of those are great ideas, but that was not what I was talking about when I was talking about events. I'm talking about events that are avatar focused. So if you have, I'm gonna go back, just use them because it's easiest. If you have a Mercedes or Porsche or Lamborghini, whoever, and.
We haven't done that. We've already said that. We're doing those.
So now we have 3 other events that we're gonna do our own, that's what I'm.
They were saying there's 2 levels. There's 2
Oh,
different
okay.
types of events.
Mhm.
Oh,
There's
okay.
the
Okay.
Chicago News Weekly event.
Our personal.
Right, and then
Mhm.
there's the Avatar
Got it.
event.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right?
got it, okay.
Yeah, we
okay.
got that. We
Okay.
got
Yeah.
We're just looking at how do we.
No, I just wanted.
different
Tax.
times.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
said we need to have 4 or 5, and I was like, ooh.
Got it.
Right, but the Avatar events,
Mhm.
quite
They're paid
frankly,
for.
can be as many as.
Right, 'cause
As
there's-
they got money,
Right.
exactly.
Right, cause you're gonna structure them so
Many as
they're.
the check
We
is
gonna be
gonna-
like,
Right.
we're gonna be like, Snart,
Turn and burn.
can you get out here?
And once you
Yeah, these
learn,
Avatar,
right?
right?
Right,
It could
we
be-
can have
They're
one.
gonna be a
Okay.
rinse and repeat with packages,
I'm
this
going
is
to
what
bed,
it comes
excuse me.
with,
Right.
this is what's included.
Yeah, 'cause I was
Put
like.
your name on it, it's a
They
Kai
paid for it.
Elzbar event.
Mhm.
It's a Kennard Carter event,
Right.
it's a Dr. Security event, put your name on it, show up, here it is, it's a rinse and repeat.
Right.
That, but it is a C&W media event.
No, I got it now, I was
Okay.
just somehow the,
Mhm.
they.
Cause we
merged. I
kinda,
didn't
they
get it.
I'm
merged
with you.
together.
I lost the sentence.
And,
I was like,
and for me, kind of coming into it, right out to your point, I'm trying to figure out, okay, where's the starting point, right? Where's the start line?
Well, that's gonna be the decision, because we gotta put them to this.
Right.
But before we can put them to this, we gotta get your brain into what we gonna put in.
Right.
Like, if this is the framework, now we got a house, it's got, what's gonna be inside, what's the furniture?
Because what we can avoid when we walk into certain spaces is not the value, right? Because we don't technically have the value right now. So you can't say CMW touches 35,000 emails. Everybody wants to buy that, but we know why they want to buy that, right? What we're going to be walking into spaces and saying is, there are probably 500 black tastemakers in Chicago. We have them all, right? Even if we don't.
Right.
We probably got 400 of the
Right.
5, right?
And besides that, the other 400 know the other 100.
Right.
Mhm.
And even our aspirational reader makes over 75 plus thousand.
They're
right?
moving towards 6 cities
So
real fast.
we're-
This was a surprise to me, right, for that reason.
Right, yeah. So what we're not, we don't necessarily, what I want us to be very clear as relates to sales is walking into an instance feeling like we have to do a formulaic based demo that we're selling to these businesses.
I like
We're
that you,
not
I
doing
like that you said that, because I was thinking earlier of like the people who buy it and why they would buy it.
Yeah.
It's like, cause I would think that the legacy,
Mm-hmm,
we get the legacy buy already, just
Mhm.
because people know us, they've been in the space, they trust the brand, oh, you black owned, woman owned, that,
Right.
all those, it checks those basic boxes, oh, fine,
mm-hmm.
it doesn't even matter. But then there's a whole other sector who we haven't been pitching
And
to,
that's what
and
this
that's
is.
what advertising.
And that's what-
Because we already, here's the thing, we already know they know you,
Right,
Yeah,
right.
but
Now this is a
these
sale.
people
These are
don't know.
sales.
mm-hmm.
This
The
is the
other
hard,
is
straight,
sales.
actual,
Sales.
straight sales,
Mhm.
and how do we have a strategy for that? That's what she's saying.
Right.
Yeah, so we don't have to come in with, oh, number this, we're driving out that, no.
Right.
Because the people that we are in touch with, that trust us,
Okay.
are the leaders of the organizations that also command their own value,
Right.
right? So we don't even have to walk in the room and tell them that it's 9,000. We don't have to do that, or that we have X amount of social media followers. We can go and tell them like, yeah, our Instagram has 10,000 reach every month with 900 followers. That's not sellable. That's not what people are interested in. But who are those 900 people?
Correct.
Right? Those 900 people run their business. They run multiple
Mhm.
businesses. They sit on boards. They're CEOs. They're in the 1% of the high achieving population of Chicago.
Mhm.
They just so happen to be black. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
We don't even need to put into the fact that it's black women owned or anything like that anymore, because what we're selling is a class within itself
Right.
that we've already surpassed that, right?
Mhm.
So only thing we need to continue to do as it relates to sales is target the people that do not care about the value of social media. We probably won't call Prudential,
Mhm.
because we know they care about that. And we also know that they put their money in black struggle. And that's not what
That's the part right there.
right.
Let's
So
finish that statement again.
we're not selling black struggle anymore, ever. So I think when we round up and we go back to the events, yes, it is important for us to cultivate what we're gonna do and how we're gonna do it. But I also, I want us to push something else. I don't know what yet though. I mean, I really think this space is not, we need to market this space to sell more.
This is the
Possibly,
space.
yeah.
But that will then do your reverse pitch, what you market it for. Look at it from a whole different perspective. Take it out of the traditional podcasting, take it out of the traditional events. Ask yourself, what could this space be marketed for beyond what you automatically would expect it to be?
That's, sellable.
Yeah, because that's what, we need an add-on, is what she's saying. We need something else that this space could be used for. What else is it?
PR and workshop.
I was gonna say great ideas, you know.
Cause here's the
think tank.
thing, we're talking to people, we meet people and they're wonderful and amazing, they might wanna, we don't know what they wanna be in the next decade. But we can look at them and know that they want to improve their station, they wanna go higher.
So flipping the script, are you saying change, in this pitch, the avatar becomes the hero? And why the hero would use this space?
Other way, the hero is the avatar.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
And why would they use this space? Why would this be valuable to the hero? Why would this space be valuable to the hero?
Because they're already buying those services elsewhere, right? Like if there's a la carte offering of a podcast studio, or the need to create content, or to host a lunch and learn in their own office or in a new office because it's not big enough.
Mm.
They're looking for that already. They just don't know to come to us for it.
And they want our audience.
And they want audience. To me, that's a soul.
They want
They want our audience.
and they also don't know what they're doing, right? So you come into a podcast studio and you do not have 20 years worth of journalism experience or 40 years worth of journalism experience. You never produced any films. You don't know how to do the things that we know how to do. Our
Right,
team
this-
offering, just existing, is putting people in an opportunity to learn from,
So then you design a package
that
that is available to the hero avatar for what they might need.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and most likely they need media services, they need some publicity, they need their own media training, they need
Yeah,
to
I mean,
walk in.
Cause the whole world has changed and they don't even know they
Like
They
know.
don't even know.
They don't even know.
That's what I hear too.
What?
Consultative
That's
service.
what he hears, that as an
Consultation.
actual, as opposed to à la carte,
Mm-hmm.
there's a fee associated with
Oh,
it.
for sure.
So
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
initial
You have
Initial-
access.
strategy session, if you will, the initial consultation session has a flat rate
Mm-hmm.
and it can be a tiered rate. You get this group or this person, and there's more costs associated with it if you're sitting with different levels.
Mhm.
And then, that's the initial strategy session, but what are the à la carte package pieces you can add? You can add studio space, podcast studio space, you can add direction and production, cause they may just want the studio. But then you can also add production and direction as another cost.
Mhm.
So you got consulting, buy that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay, well, great, now I wanna do my own podcast, cool. Here's what the monthly cost is for the podcast studio,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know how to do production and direction.
So you have to.
So now you gotta pay for that.
Right.
So you guys have to design the package.
Okay, they don't.
Yeah, it's already, she has already done that.
Okay, so that could be.
We just haven't gone in front of those people because what we're discovering is those people, they don't even know that they need it. And the reason I keep talking, I'll say a Porsche or Mercedes-Benz, because my girlfriend in California, Los Angeles, who is a fashion consultant, she produces a luxury fashion show during their Fashion Week in LA at Porsche. And people come, cause it's already luxury and Porsche loves it, they're like, okay, we wanna be in 5 years, cause she gets those people. If they sell 2 cars that night,
Mhm.
they've already paid for it, whatever, it's done, but they got all these other people too, and they probably get more. So they get it, but then they don't know that they need all the other stuff. So now, you need your podcast, you need this just talking about the luxury car or whatever. And it doesn't have to be that. It could be a storytelling, but the
You know what I'm
kind
saying?
of
That-
PR thing where people, you just have to tell them now they have to meet the people where the people are in a
Right.
different way, cause life has changed.
With that,
So,
And all of those are old cats still doing it.
so to her point,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta package that,
Yeah,
and that becomes the additional product that can be delivered.
exactly. That's all I'm saying. I'm agreeing with her and saying that's who we go.
with that said, would we do a newsletter a la carte for a client? Like, would,
They already have a newsletter.
well, I mean, would we offer that for
We could.
a service for an avatar?
What do
Yeah.
you mean?
Like, would we facilitate a newsletter for a company, who says, all right, I'm gonna put this out to my client base quarterly, and would we do that for them?
We
I mean, 'cause we
could.
already offer them a
You
daily
mean, would we
podcast.
actually produce it?
Would we
Generate it,
produce it and
yeah.
generate it for them?
Yeah, so we have a person that we're working with that sells newsletters. And data, and she's working on those types.
So
of packages.
designing and producing the actual
Specific to
newsletter
them.
on a quarterly
Along with
basis.
websites,
For
along
our,
with PR
for our
service.
audience, the audience, we're trying to, or no.
Oh, for their audience,
For
they
their
have a
Their
customer
own.
base already.
So this
They
is
just need to
totally
put out their
different.
content to their own audience, we're just helping to facilitate it.
So
Right.
in terms of being a
Okay.
production arm
Right,
for them, for the newsletter,
correct,
for
Along-
their
for
newsletter.
their newsletter.
So we're conceptualizing it for them, but are we producing it?
Well,
too?
that's
Wait.
the ask,
That's what he's asking, would that be something you do?
because when you take a step back and you think about consulting, right? Like, I know we said we wanna offer more services.
Yeah.
We wanna
Who
sell,
would create their newsletter for them?
That's what,
That's what he's saying.
that's what I'm asking. I'm
Yeah.
asking, will
So
we,
But
as
is
a
that
part of the
something we do?
consultation
as
services.
a part of a consultation service, or will we do it à la carte? I can see us doing it as a consultative
No,
service,
it's
or
actually,
something to that effect,
here's the fun
or we
part.
coach them to do it.
Here's what we've learned.
Mhm.
That service is actually a standalone. People pay way more than you would think for that.
Okay,
So that's actually its own separate service. We have, someone that's actually working with us.
That's a
how
student.
That's making that happen.
okay,
But yeah, that's its own thing, and apparently it's a whole business people sell, right? So,
So that's a CNW media.
and that's the CNW media under that umbrella. But I think we still getting confused a little bit. So podcast is its own thing, it has 3 or 4 tiers for it, right? So we have the studio itself, just base rental. Then we have people who want an enhanced service, so they want a sound person, right? That's another one, there's an add-on to that price. And then we have people who want all of this stuff and they need help with production and booking, right? That's the largest tier. And the way that they sell that, we already have that price listing, we're just not marketing it right now. Because we don't have a tech person yet.
Yeah.
And we wanna redesign the studio, so it look
Right.
more feminine, it's not girly enough for us, right? So that's its
Well,
own
neutral.
package, right?
Less manly.
Separate package being marketing and media services.
Yeah, because we do media training.
So that includes media training, marketing, I guess, like Kennard said, potentially copywriting in a sense, and things
Ooh.
that are related to us utilizing, what did we say? Monetize everything, right? So that could be emblematic of copywriting services, whatever, that's media, marketing, journalism, that's its own package. We can offload ourselves in that.
Question here.
Sure.
I'm just thinking about this event we did for National Black MBA, where as an aside for the event, people could schedule an appointment for a consultation.
Mm-hmm.
And that consultation, you guys could, in that consultation, help the heroes identify this marketing and media that they might need, or the podcast idea they might have, and that could be a sales funnel into these other
For sure.
properties. But I don't think, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, I don't think what you're saying, this does not fit what you're saying, because if you're saying, I wanna go ahead and do these events, but I need, what did you say? I wanna make sure I said it right, cause you said, I've been trying to capture what you guys said. Need to sell 2 products, quiet luxury and cultivate something else.
Mm-hmm.
So you want the cultivation to be driving into another sales funnel.
Yes.
So if we think about your sales funnels, you have your events funnel, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have your digital and advertising.
Mm-hmm.
That's a funnel where people are going and utilizing the newsletter to drive them into one way or another. What other sales funnel are you thinking? It's not events and it's not digital or print advertising. What's the other sales funnel?
I still think we should be selling media services.
The media services, I thought that's.
Okay, define media services, cause that may be why I have a gap, I don't get where you are.
So
Can I
most
ask a
people.
question before we go off topic? Is there a reason why Max puts the things into the Pubnator but does not mark them proof?
Yes. I have to see them first.
Oh.
But if they don't have photos, I can't move them, they're not done.
0,
So-
0, 0, 0, 0.
So those ones don't.
Well,
have photos.
David, did you already see David?
David can. He
Jackie
just put it
Robinson
in
Day?
this morning.
Jackie Robinson Day?
I didn't write
I
that
should
yet,
have
so
put
no.
the photos in, so I wait for her to.
Yeah, I don't have any views for that one. I'm sorry, so.
Okay,
Market
thank you,
media
that's all.
services,
Mhm.
right? So often people do not understand the importance and value of marketing. They also do not understand the importance and value of publicity. Diane and I both have publicity experience. I also still own a marketing and PR agency, right? So what we need to do, or what would be advantageous and often runs into our spaces, is people don't have media training. People do not know how to market their podcast. People do not know how to market themselves. There's a lack of poise. They don't know how to present themselves publicly. Those are media services that we actually offer to teach.
Okay,
So
prepackaged?
Yes.
yeah,
Okay, cause what I'm thinking, I'm just pulling in what you said, I think I've heard you say this before, but I didn't grasp where it fit, and I even wrote here marketing and media training. Well, if we were to take what we have, and we said there's services and there's products,
Yes.
right? The services would be media and marketing services, which may include training, it may be PR, it may be actual marketing services. Those are actual services that could be offered under the title of marketing and media. And then you have events, which would be the events we've talked about. And then you have products, which would be the newsletter and the digital and the paper.
Correct.
Tangible things that they can actually get. Did I miss something?
Those are part, isn't that a part of the marketing?
No, those are actual products. Those are
Technically, it's
tangible
its own
products.
separate product, and we just do a really good job of, we could promote our services in our product,
Absolutely.
but it's a separate thing.
So the reason I'm asking is because if you take that into his words, how do you activate each of those aspects of your business in that? That's what
In what?
in these missed opportunities. What you're feeling is that there's a lack of activation of those, either the service or the product that isn't tied to the delivery of the event. So if you deliver the event, the quiet luxury event, just for lack of a better word, any quiet luxury event, where does CNW Media's activation come in? How you're activating your brand?
So you're saying what product are we selling?
What product are you selling? Selling the cover of the newspaper? Are you doing a digital story about somebody? What are you doing aside from just showing up at the event? What's the long-term value for CNW?
I mean, in my mind, the consultative nature of the business is always on display.
Okay.
So just the ability to facilitate a new event, a customized event for a new client
Okay.
is at work, and then the content capture. The recap of that event has to live somewhere. Ideally, we captured it for our own portfolio
Yeah.
and likely for the clients.
And now you have their attention.
But to her point, what
You can
are we
also-
selling
So
beyond
that's
that? It's not a
technically-
one-off.
What he just described is marketing, promotion, and PR.
Right. But
Right.
what's the
No,
sell?
no, but that's what I'm saying. The marketing of the event is the promotion before it happens. The
Publicity.
carefully crafted curation also before it happens is a service. Then the promotion in the event, as far as publicity, where it goes, obviously we would have to activate some sort of media services. Adding other journalists or other publications to come to publicize the event, that's still publicity, right? And then also the capturing of the event with our photographers, with our media space, doing post-event coverage is still publicity, right?
And it goes into the package
So
for
that's-
the future sale.
That's essentially end to end. So if I am an avatar, I'm paying for CNW to helm the promotion, the marketing, and the publicity for this activation, and providing the people that are in the room. That's like, supermarket. They don't even have to show, all they have to do is write a check. And we handle everything else. Who wouldn't buy that?
So now you package that all together. So maybe it doesn't come across as a sponsorship. It changes the way you present it. It's a partnership.
For sure. It's
Because
definitely
I'm
partnership.
If you're not talking about it from the sponsorship, which is more of the philanthropic kind of thought, and you're talking more towards the marketing and promotion and media services, you come to your point, CNW Media is the company. We're less like you're giving us philanthropic things. You're doing this because it's a good business decision, not because it's gonna make you look good in the community.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna make you money in the community, and that's what you want.
It's gonna make you money in the community, and you're gonna get the black purse that you do not normally get, and access to their readership as a result of our publicity services. And these extraordinary heroes that you get access to, right? So it's a very serious value to it. Like, I mean, it's a,
So maybe I think what we have to circle back to is our sponsorship pitch deck and our sponsorship package and the description changes. I mean, the title changes. It's a partnership package or an advertising package. Because we're not talking about sponsoring us, we're talking about partnering with us to connect on promotion, marketing, and PR.
so can we talk about sponsorship real quick?
This is just, and just know, these were just high level. You guys can change anything in here that you want.
So, when would there be a need for us to have a sponsor versus a collaborative partner?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I don't know that we,
I don't think you would. Based on what we're saying, I don't think you would.
so what, I'm having a complete brain fart, right? Because I don't wanna like assume that we will never need a sponsor. When do we?
There's a pre-existing event, a signature event that you do annually,
And they wanna be in front.
and you're gonna do
What
it,
their
and
presenting sponsor, or their,
Mhm.
you know. I mean, it is language, but it is,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Traditional
like
language.
it's,
It's traditional.
so
And
it's
there's
like
also
the impact
benefits to go
awards,
with
we need
that
sponsors for the impact awards,
correct.
right? But in media, I mean specifically, we would never.
We were using them, right now, we're using that word with the newsletter. When you have, okay,
Mm-hmm,
right? And maybe the words are synonymous,
mm-hmm,
but that's the word that's used. So in every podcast,
sponsored by,
there's, in our segment sponsor, our sponsor for this segment is da-da-da, and then you, which is how I found out about Indochino, right? But let's say it's Tommy John underwear, and Tommy John, they're the most breathable, comfortable boxers, da-da-da, now you get with our code, you get 20% off, you just use the code CNW.
but just essentially sponsorship in that instance, that's a public facing word for ads.
Yeah.
Advertising, your advertising is right.
Without saying it's an ad, right?
And it's not to say.
So
that
I'm
these
not
things-
sure, well, I have to know how that works, right? Because that's not, so you're getting your ad dollars from the Google ads or whatever,
Mhm.
right? The YouTube ads.
I think I got it.
in the circle. But then you've got your sponsorship dollars that go directly towards the show, which are a direct pay, they're not programmatic necessarily.
They can be.
They can be, because Tommy John does 5,000 different shows, right? If you've got the demographic that they're looking for, that's the Tommy John buyer, you're gonna have some Tommy John segments, right? You're gonna have Brooklyn in segments, you're gonna have, just depending on who your audience is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they say our sponsor, they definitely say this segment sponsor or today's sponsor is Brooklyn and da.
Mm-hmm.
So I got two questions for you. One, based on what we said about you guys are in the moment and in the change of how media is viewed. And traditionally, this is the wording is sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able or willing to shift how that word is utilized in this company? And two, what is the title of the person that you approach for the funding? Is it more of like the DEI person in the organization? Or is it in the purchasing department? Is it in advertising? Is it in marketing? When you go to the company,
Are you saying who are we looking to talk to?
who do you talk to get the money?
It's not gonna be the DEI person.
But I'm putting it out there because, we don't, I don't wanna assume.
Well, cause we don't know where they are.
Cause we don't know where they are, they might not even still be there, but.
And I'm under the understanding that, that also depends, but I would say head of marketing,
Okay.
because,
So you come as a head of marketing, if you come to me with a partnership package that is including promotion, marketing, and PR.
It might be you might have a partnerships department,
Mhm.
that are on, that handle events and partnerships, right?
It's in
Mhm.
partnership, cause they might be the ones that do the activation, it could be in the advertising. So you're less in the sponsorship kind of realm and more into the business of marketing, promotions, and PR.
In print and things like that, and the events, oftentimes the sponsorship people in our world are the community, either the community affairs people, it comes out of those budgets, sometimes out of governmental affairs, depending on what you're doing.
mhm.
But are you still doing
Not
it?
often out of marketing.
Is that still where you would go?
That's right, I take
Depends
the
on what
money
it
out
is.
for the ads at the other job, in my community relations.
Yeah, community
Straight out of
relations departments.
on my-
For, like, if ComEd is gonna do something, it comes out of their community relations department.
But as we're looking at the strategy for CNW Media today,
It depends on what the event is and who it is.
depending on the event,
Mhm.
do you think you would be more towards the marketing side of the company, approaching them, or more towards the community affairs?
It depends on the event.
Yeah, cause I say it's like a health.
And what department wants to do the event, and then that's their responsibility.
Yeah, and that's why I say go to the marketing first, because they
But
don't know who
but
does
I disagree because you might be missing money.
No, what I'm
Could
saying
be
is,
the-
it depends on how their company is structured.
Communications.
They may,
it. Yeah,
whatever they're doing, then they have to do with their marketing department, and they just bring it to them, whether it's already been dealt with, and they say, okay, here's your budget, I don't know, but I'm just saying.
I'm thinking in terms of how we broaden the ability to access the funding. Each of these companies, they got a community affairs department, the larger ones, they have community affairs or governmental, front facing.
mhm,
But then they also have marketing, they generally have communications, they have some other departments that have budget for advertising.
Right.
And so if, in looking at how you get to be strategic about positioning, it might, one of the things that was always difficult when you deal with DNI is that there's a very limited budget. We only got $10 million and we're only gonna spend $1 million with diversity. But they got $50 million that they spend with advertising.
mhm.
And if we are looking at this from the strategic business positioning for promotions and marketing and PR, there's a whole huge budget that is sitting over there that doesn't often get tapped in for our heroes. So if we're looking at our heroes, do we go in and say we're looking for sponsorship? Or do you go in looking for partnership and advertising and promotion? Because it will determine how you approach these people.
Sure.
Well, would each of those be individual and unique, and you would find out which way to go with that company?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it would, but you wanna put that into the mix.
Right.
Right, but that's why I'm just saying, it depends on who the thing is, and what the event is. For example, if we're talking to United Airlines, right? So depending on what the event is that you're asking them that you're pitching them on, will depend on which department you have to pitch to.
Mhm.
So if you're pitching let's say Bud Billiken, you're in the community affairs, for sure. That's where you're gonna go. That's where they're gonna make that kind of a donation from, that's where it's gonna come from, right? That sponsorship, and you're gonna work with those people over there. They're gonna crisscross over, depending on if the president of United Airlines wants to ride on the float or not, then you're gonna crisscross over with the executive department and the marketing folks, you know, if you need, are they gonna throw things off the float when he's going by? That's in the marketing department, right? The promotion, marketing and promotion, so there's different things that you're bouncing around, but for the money, you're gonna be talking to the people in community affairs, right? Now, if we're doing something, let's say we have, Black Voters Week, that's not philanthropic, that's not community centered, that's this, that, and the other, then we're gonna be in the marketing department, right? We're not gonna touch the executive side at all, they don't care. You're gonna be dealing with the marketing department, and you're gonna need to get into those marketing budgets in order to get that money out, cause that's where that's gonna come from, it's not gonna come from community affairs, cause it doesn't have any goodwill, philanthropic kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Let's say it's the Beyonce concert or whatever, right? And you're looking for, presented by United Airlines, it's just straight marketing, right? This is straight marketing and advertising, right? So it just, that's why I was saying it depends on what the event is, which one you're gonna tap into. But when it's, so for things like us, if we're doing something, Impact Awards, community affairs, right? Because we're highlighting people from the community. This is a feel-good community piece. This is showing United Airlines that's behind and supporting community people and rah, 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 right?
I think that.
But if we're doing Black Dandy, right? We're not looking for United Airlines to spotlight anything. We're offering you an opportunity to put your stamp on this, and these are your people, and they're gonna buy your ticket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Different things. We wanna get in early with the marketing department. We wanna, we wanna do our full-on pitch. We wanna,
And it's not about community per se, so it's not the kind of philanthropic approach. And so that's why I was saying in terms of the difference between how you word it,
Right.
sponsorship versus partnership.
So there's money, exactly.
The
Sponsorship
sponsorship
would
is more
be
community affairs type of a thing.
Yes, but,
And that is what while we put these together, you might have to your question, you might have a sponsorship package
Yeah,
that is utilized when you're approaching community affairs.
right.
And it might even be said the exact same thing, but the word
You
says
just change the
partnership
word.
on it when you go into marketing, because they're gonna be more comfortable with promotions and marketing and PR.
partners are.
Yeah, and then we also, if we're going into United, like Cheryl said, for the Davies, we're the product, obviously, we're selling the event, but we also are appealing to a product we know they might need for this demographic, right? So your business class, your whatever.
The way that you're promoting
Yeah.
it to the people that's in the room. So to our pitch deck, as we start to really think of these three events, Cheryl? I mean, we really gotta narrow it down, because we're gonna have to craft them. The three signature C&W events. We
So,
already got the
we're talking
impact.
about from April to April, right?
We're talking about from May to
May to May,
May to April.
of next year.
Yeah, I guess May to May, because we're gonna be done, because we're only gonna do 12 months. And but here's what I'm thinking of, is that you really wanna go like May to August.
Also like 18.
Right, because some of the people, because of where their budgets are right now, you're gonna get the budgeted money, but you're not gonna get it actually in cash until December for an event, or May, or June, February, January for an event. So going now, which is why I'm saying craft the events now, so you can get the money before the event has to happen, so you meet her need, which is have the cash up front.
No question.
Mhm.
So, but we still gotta figure out what the events are. so
That's
we
why
can
I'm,
get that.
well, I feel like, right,
So fall or holiday?
I feel like,
What'd you say?
I said fall or holiday.
was the goal today to make sure that we had 3 events done by the end of the session, because I don't know that we have the.
No, the goal was to get your brain into, we gotta get 3. We gotta get those events so they can go in the package. We can't put together.
between now and next year?
I think we
Yeah.
I
got
mean,
so
the,
much
for
other stuff
between
to do
now
before we
and
get
next
to that.
year.
You gotta know.
No,
what those
I'm
are.
just,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, ask the
just
question.
between now, so we're talking about from April to next year. So impact awards is 1,
Mm-hmm.
and then 2 more.
Right, so if we
Okay.
stay with the Black Dandy, that would be 2, then you'd have to have 1 more.
True.
And then, that's the signature events, and then 1 or 2 rinse and repeat events that you can put people on. Like the car thing that Kai talked about, or something that you can attach people to. 3,
It is.
It's
We
a-
know from the.
it's a
energy
lot, but
it's-
you can't have just 1, you're not gonna get the money, you're not gonna meet your financial goals.
Right, so having some sort of a summit of some sort. Could be 1, that's more meetings, trainings.
What was that one that
Meetings, trainings, huh?
Monday.
what was one, she kept talking about it last time.
Cheryl was?
Cheryl did, she said about 3 or 4 times, it was like bringing the heroes in for some type of conversation. Don't you remember? It was either.
Like a TED Talk, we could do like a TED Talks. Remember we were gonna do Girl Talks? I
Do you
hadn't done the
remember?
whole thing out. When we first started Chicago Music in 2017. Yeah, the whole thing mapped out. I still
Saw
have
that.
it. I still
Yeah,
have
but I
it.
never remember talking about it last time.
No, this was something, she said something about, if we had a name for it, hold on, it was hero.
Oh, let's get Tony, let's get Grant Cardone.
Oh my God, that's my man.
When Grant
Until
Cardone, you have
saw
to put in a
Super
space
Trophy,
big
but I
enough to
love
hold
him.
him.
He's really good. They're expensive. He's like 100,000 on. Grant Cardone.
Yeah, it's gonna cost, so.
Melanie was doing his bookings for him for a little while.
She was.
Yeah, one of my real estate, guys actually used to do all of his
Yeah, cause you were
Fundraising.
interested, right.
fundraising.
Oh,
That book was so great.
he's such a scammer.
He is, but I like that book.
Scammy.
The 10 times. The 10
Brings
times.
in the cash.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
is.
That was my
It's a
book.
good book, though.
I was driving. You right. I don't know. Like, it was fun. I enjoyed it.
It's scammy.
But have you ever seen that black guy on Instagram that mocks the billionaires?
Mm-mm.
And he's like, you know, I
What
told-
about the other dude?
Who?
John, David John.
John O'Brien?
John Hope, right.
You think he can come here? He might. I mean, he's been on the radio a bunch
Why
of
would he
times.
not come to Chicago?
I don't know how much it costs, but John O'Brien, if you want to do a financial wealth seminar or something, that would be dope.
That would be dope. Yeah, cause you could just call it, Stay Ready.
Mm-hmm.
That would be.
Stay Ready Playbook Live, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
John Hope, Bryant, and some others, right?
And if you did a stay ready, that could be an annual, cause you got the playbook already,
Mm-hmm.
and if you just. And you
Yeah,
can,
that's
you can
great.
easily get
That should be one
partners
of the 3 then.
to
Right.
support
Mhm.
For
that.
sure, we could get financial partners.
Yeah, but you could actually get financial partners and health partners, because you could get them under the stay ready healthy, cause you can put pillars under it.
Yeah.
You know, financially, you know, spiritually, health-wise, physically, and then,
For the spiritual.
well, you know what I'm saying, but pick those aspects, and then put a partner with it. Stay ready can definitely work.
That would be great. I like it.
You could be just Stay Ready Playbook Live. And then just, whatever's in your Stay Ready, just put a partner in there. They would probably wanna be a presenting partner for whatever aspect. That would be cool.
So we have to find like a theater. To have it at? Like Remova or whatever, use spots, whatever, so it's theater seating and they're up on the stage.
And then it can move into the Stay Ready talks. And you can bring people in that talk about how to stay ready.
So,
Do you think it would be, we're
Isn't
looking
that what
at
it's-
seating
isn't
more
that what
people
it
than
is?
you do?
No, but I'm just saying, in an ongoing, like, maybe you did it, so you did a big event with all these people coming in. But maybe once a quarter, you got one
Gotta
special
go.
guy coming in.
I was thinking about using the city's public library stage as one of those, the one downtown or Washington upstairs in the last room. Or whatever they call it. It's, you know,
I don't know.
you know,
The Winter Garden.
there it is, the Winter Garden. That would be, you could do a wonderful TED talk there, or you could do it literally.
But that would
in an
definitely be
auditorium.
pretty strong events. That would be, you know, and it's not that you have to choose today. I just want you to really say, okay, these are what we're doing, so then you craft the event, and now
I
you can
like
figure
that
out the
idea
cost.
though, because that,
Can we do it at the Field Museum or the
Yeah, you could do, you know, there, yeah, take advantage of.
As we sit here faced by extinction, how do you stay ready in modern times?
But that's
You
right,
stand up.
and that's why we gotta do this stuff this year to emerge forward and say, this is how you do
Yeah,
it.
this is how you stay ready.
Is it a book? It can't be. Is it glue?
What's that? Ooh. You say that.
I don't know what it was, but I had touched it because I was in the land of extinction, and I touched it.
And she
Oh,
said,
no, it's one of our double stick little things we had. on
she
the-
said, I don't know if it's a booger.
Yeah.
I was like, oh
Under the
my
table?
God. what
It's
do you
one of our
say?
little, you know, the little clear thing that's, it's the glue on both sides, I mean, the
Just gave
tape
me a
on both sides.
visual.
I'm
like,
surviving. It's like I can't.
I like that a lot, Cheryl, you like that?
It would have been dry.
I just got the government affairs lady number yesterday. On the Field Museum.
On the
what's her name? I got her, I have her card in my thing. Did you drop yours and then I picked it up all day for us?
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
gonna come on
I
board
have
to
it.
do a
Stay-
podcast.
But I also have her
Cause they have the
LinkedIn.
Stay Ready Playbook,
Mhm.
and align that with some.
And then I also have the marketing person, Bridget,
Pillars
'cause
around
I got
it.
that
Which one
from
was the dark hair chick?
Forward.
Who had the little,
C-name.
had the field
Mimi.
with the jacket on, she had the best with her field.
Mimi.
Yes.
Mhm.
Under the dinosaurs,
That's
where
me.
you say stay ready will be extended.
Oh, wow, okay.
Sure, cause I'm
We
dramatic.
would have to do it in the evening.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think about all those people that do those museum of science and industry galas and balls or whatever, but it's like, we just wasting money on clothes at this point. How are we gonna make sure that the wealth gap doesn't be, what they say yesterday, 0 in 20 years? Yeah,
He said it's now.
yeah, like it's not.
Overall,
No, he
It's
said we're
yeah.
considered, no matter you.
no matter
work, blah,
what,
blah, blah,
add
blah,
all of
we're
us
still
in,
zeroed out.
and across the
Yes.
aggregate number for the,
0.
for
Zero.
black generational
That's an
wealth,
emergency.
the percentage is 0.
Put the ball, and we
That
could
was
do,
scary,
we could do,
but it's true, you know.
we could do a commercial, we could do an ad
We said
about
that
it, and we're like burning up a gala dress. Like, it is not the time to throw another gala. It is time to stay ready.
Yes. I'm just saying,
So
like,
that-
that's where this, and all of the people you're putting on the covers, they're staying ready. So it makes sense to be, that makes a lot of sense.
So this period of time for us in 2025.
And, yeah, and that was part of the thing with us with doing the impacts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was that people didn't have to put on a gala ball gown to come.
But they want to, we forget that.
Well, there's no absence of galas for them to go to.
No, I'm just saying, you're over here being concerned for them, and I'm saying that's what they want to do. We went to the Women of Excellence, and I was just in total shock at what everybody had
I
on.
didn't wear one there either.
Let me tell
I
you.
know we didn't, but I'm saying,
I'm not concerned with
The-
them. We are having a death of the auto-tune moment is what we're having. And I will explain it to y'all if y'all don't know what
Go
it
ahead.
means. But Jay-Z was
Death
in
of
a land
auto-tune.
of auto-tune rappers. They weren't
Death of
even using their
auto-tune.
real voices. And he came up with a song called DOA, which stood for Death of the Auto-Tune. And he listed the rappers who were not using the auto-tune. And he mixtape Weezy and everybody else. And slowly but surely, not immediately, after that song, they used it less. Because he pointed it out. He's like, hey, what are we doing? Can you use your voices, please?
Can we hear who you really are?
And they felt condemned at first, you know, just like he was making fun of them with the money song. Y'all ever say the money song? Then all of a sudden they stopped using the money song. Listen, he's not my favorite rapper just because of the words. He's my favorite rapper because when he shuts it down and he says, we're not wearing jerseys anymore. We're wearing fresh pair of jeans and button-ups. The style changes. Okay? So what I'm saying is, burn the gown down. We're tired of the gown.
richest, so
Yeah,
they want to
exactly.
follow.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't then.
No,
No,
when he
this
did
is
that,
what
he
I'm saying.
wasn't,
When
though.
he did these things, he was not the
He was
richest
the
rapper.
style maker.
He was
the
not.
maker. He was the, in
He
the
was the
moment, the
trailblazer.
exceptional and the
He
aspiration.
was in the moment.
And that's where we are with CNW.
And we're in the moment, so that's
So
all
let's define it. Let's put it out
We're
there.
done with the gallons now.
So,
I don't wanna go to another sneaker ball.
I hate the sound of that, but I said, I guess it's
it's gonna be a
irrelevant.
Gala B one, and if it's not, stop. That's how I feel.
Exactly.
I'm actually going to a thing on Saturday, the Queen something, whatever.
The
The
crowns.
Bridgertons?
Crowns or whatever, huh?
Oh, the
The
Bridgertons.
Africa Porter is throwing.
Oh,
And
that.
it's at least interesting because the attire is African
There
attire.
we go, that's interesting.
And I've never been to one where the attire is African attire, so it's
You've
something a
never
little bit
been?
different.
Just
And
give what
I
city
just
it
said,
is
I've never been.
That's what I emerged
Yeah.
from, so I know all about it.
No,
They're not as woke.
Yeah, they're not here,
Yeah, well-
they're not having them like that here.
no.
They in there with these boo-boo chiffons and, taffy.
No, just the African wear, and it's in the daytime, so don't come looking like you're going to a Nigerian wedding either. Nigerian royal wedding
Or
on top of
with
that.
the
You got
baby.
to wear the suit.
I'm just
that
start
they
setting
have
stuff on
there.
fire. I'm gonna set the long eyelashes on fire.
Oh, you mean the bat
The
wings?
Bambies.
The bat wings, that's
If they literally blush your face, like
It's
you
the
literally
dwarfist.
blink and the blush. and
called
I'm
bat
setting it on
wings, that's
fire.
what they call
Wow.
bat wings.
Well, they feel
All right,
nice.
so
I'm
let's-
happy about that.
So
about
we got
doing
to
something
stay ready
different, but
and
yeah.
And are you saying yes to Dandy or no?
I think we should do something. I think we should, even though it would have to be
It would
later
be
in
like
this
autumn.
year. We should.
I don't think
if
it'll
we
go away,
Pick
though.
a place. If we pick, let's say we pick Union Station, then we would need to be super targeted on who will come in, who we approach on that, who will come in to help pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
And my guess would be one of the ones that we absolutely should pick would be, that we should target and go for would be Amtrak.
Mm.
And, right?
I think it'd be interesting to,
Because,
Let's find out when all the events are going on in fall, so we don't collide with them as a date.
that's true. And early fall would be good because the weather would be one where they can do a full dress.
you
It's
have
early
so
fall.
much money
What's
for that.
early
I was gonna
fall?
say early
A lot
fall
of money.
is 2 days away in reality of getting it done right now, cause you gotta go get the money, you gotta get the stuff.
So you're talking about next year then?
Yeah.
for that one.
I think so.
Which is, kind of misses the.
So is there some, question,
That misses
is there
that.
something smaller than you could do, going back to
Sure.
your thing with
Mhm.
the, I can't say it,
So we-
Chino? Is there something smaller you could do this year that leads into the event you do next year? So it still does the Black Dandy, but it
Cause we
does
can
it
go
small.
into Union Station, right, that could be a target later,
Right,
we can grow into.
Of course. You can't do it right now. The amount of money what it would take to do that is substantial,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
To be able to lease that space out. So we would have to have a big presenting partner on that one, maybe even something like with backing from City of Chicago, can't really do with that. But definitely we would need some serious corporate partners. So like I was saying, Amtrak, even Greyhound, because they go there, or Indian Trails, or whoever else
Are they
goes
still
to.
there?
So, not Greyhound, what's the ones out there in front?
Mhm.
Is it Indian Trail? Oh, yeah, so we have, no, I'm sorry, different space. Metra and
Where Amtrak is.
Amtrak
goes.
goes to Union Station,
Right.
but Metra's Regional Transit Authority and probably not. Transportation money is the, so that still leads us, right? And then we would have to have some product brand sponsors, you know.
So if you started this year and didn't do the massive event, but did a smaller, more intimate event in this year, would that be doable before the end of the year? Like, something where Black Dandy isn't defining your style or something, and do it exclusive for the gentlemen, and then bring them to the custom tailor, and maybe bring 2 or 3 other sponsors and do something smaller to open the door for that. Could you do that? It wouldn't bring you the money that you want.
We're talking
It would open
6
the door.
months
Is this
out
door?
for the end of the year. Did you hear
Maybe
me?
that's next door, maybe.
It would sound like it. So, right now, we would have to start getting the money, cause we only have 6 months to get the money for some time. If we say the fall, it's less, but if you're saying the end of the year, December, you see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
6 months, that's all we have left in the year.
Right, cause it's April almost over.
Right.
So reality is that and that's why I'm asking you, what's the likelihood of you
Well,
being
what
able
I
to
wanted
get
to
that?
ask you in terms of our timeline, cause I thought we were talking about the year from whenever we begin, not necessarily starting with the year of 2025 to, you know what I'm saying? So would it be because we're just putting these plans into motion?
You have a combination calendar. You
Okay.
have the calendar of the partners' money, which they've already allocated for the 2025. Your strategic plan is for 12 months from now.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to consider that a lot of places will have already allocated their dollars
Yes.
by the time your plan is over. So you have to do a combination. You have to say, okay, how soon do I have to get to somebody for money for next year?
Right.
August. September, I need to be to them for the money I need next year, but I also might be able to get to somebody that might not have put all their money aside to do something this year.
Okay.
So you have to be,
I'm cool with that, but the other stress was stressful.
Okay,
sorry, I
Like 3
didn't mean to
events in a
stress you.
year for 3 months, 6 months, that was a lot.
timing is what we have, so we're gonna have to try to work with it how we can.
I also think that we need to not shoulder too much stress if we're going to get funding. And remember, last week, we controlled the deadlines.
Yes, we do.
So we're not gonna be stressed out about time, because we can move the time however we need to. And the activation of the work, when we start moving, is not until we get the check we need.
But you have to have a time frame to give your partners for
Yeah,
them to put
we
the
need
money
to know, right, but, okay. I think we should do, if we're doing it in order, Black Dandy feels October, November. Question
2025 or
is,
26?
that's what I'm asking the group. Do we feel comfortable with an October, November in 25 or in 20?
Depends on how big we make it. How
If we
big are
put
we
it-
making it?
If we
Where
put
are we
it
gonna
at
put
a
it at?
Benz dealership, do we have one that we like?
Anything on the Black Rush, Oak Street area.
You wanna do a Black Dandy at a Benz dealership, or is it, how about the
Very,
Rolls Royce?
it's very African to be at a Mercedes-Benz dealership.
Or is that better at the Cadillac dealership? Is that better at
Either
the
one.
Rolls Royce dealership?
Whichever one gives us the most
Rolls
money.
might be interesting.
The
Rolls,
Jaguar,
that's
Rolls
where a lot of
Royce.
people are going.
Porsche.
Space? Is that the Porsche and the Jaguar are the same one?
Maybe that.
I think
the Volvo.
whoever is the
That's
most
right at North
concerned,
Avenue.
whoever is the most concerned by the tariffs and thinking that we're not gonna buy those vehicles anymore, who out of the three that you just,
Who was the most concerned?
Most
I mean,
concerned-
other than Tesla, obviously.
Okay.
Wait,
Wait,
it's not
who's
concerned.
who's the
Tariffs.
most concerned?
They're not concerned about tariffs, but they're concerned about vandalism.
Well, they went out and said something about that today.
So if you're talking about Porsche,
Not tariffs
Rolls.
for American sales.
it's American sales though, it's deal properties, dealerships for American cars that I would think would be more.
They're gonna be more for us, yes, but then also the tariffs are being, say for example, Japan, they've decided if the tariffs are gonna be raised and they're gonna have to pay more, they're going to lessen their security protocols. Good luck with your hunting. It's not, it might not, they might miss a couple of pieces.
So how about if we
Better.
go, how about if you say, pitch 3 or 4 of them,
Mm-hmm.
and whoever brings the money first. Cause it doesn't matter if you craft the event and know what the event is gonna look like. Then you pitch the dealerships, and then the dealerships determine which one says this is what we need. So you craft the event and say this is what we're gonna include in it, this is why you wanna do it, get all of the data, put the package together. Now you pick the top 3, put it in front of all of them, and say that we're putting it in front of Joe Smo and Jack Jones and Gene, and whoever gets here first. Because it's really a good idea for any one of them, and this way it becomes almost like a bidding war. Cause they're not gonna wanna be there, Rolls is not gonna be where Porsche is, they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna put their name on something that they're both on.
So we thinking October 20.
I like October.
I did tell, but I'm
And
not,
we
I'm
said-
just the facilitator.
Right.
We said-
Before the holiday.
It's my birthday, it's
Acura.
always a beautiful time.
Rolls Royce, are you a Libra?
I am a Scorpio. Do not have that back and forth, not at all. I am very much that.
I'm married to you. So fun.
You said it's so fun.
So fun. So we're thinking October for Black Day.
So, okay,
And
what's
then we
next?
got-
You said in order.
Stay ready, Playbook Live. What does that feel like? Because we're indoors.
Stay ready is kind of a end of the year, beginning of the year
Yeah.
type of
Timing wise. If it goes into 2026, it's gotta be early in the year then. While they're still thinking about how to get ready.
right?
Oh, in the New Year, New Me pocket, but then
Right.
you put the dangerous
MLK.
snow. For just
Chicago, it's always a
I don't like beginning of the year stuff.
because
I don't like doing beginning of the year events. I
Yeah,
don't want-
impact.
It's just, it's, We do, and I don't even know, we really have to discuss when we're gonna do the impacts.
Where is that typically?
Well, we've only had one, and it was at the end of February. We moved from the community builders, which is what we did have, which was at the end of January.
Mhm.
It's just,
Well,
well, how much did you have to do with it? With the community builders, right? I'm not saying that to be funny, but
No,
it's
I
a lot
know,
of
but-
pressure to do something like that, and you just came off the holidays.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's like
Trying to
for
pull it
us all.
together, and you're tired.
Yeah.
right.
I personally am tired,
Yeah.
So why
and
not second
this,
quarter then?
huh?
So why not second quarter? They had
26.
4 months to
I'm not
think.
gonna put that on her, to try to come
No.
up with something like that, it's just, it's a lot, it's too much. So if we're gonna do something, a good time is to move it around to a different place.
So say, or Juneteenth, 26.
Right. It was the
Time-
second time we
timing.
tried to do it, it gave me a stroke, this time we ended up having to move it back another month, cause I just couldn't do it, right? It's like,
We survived.
I wouldn't have you do it either, no, it's a lot to come up off of something, nobody's paying attention, first of all, nobody's paying attention during November to December,
Mm-hmm.
nobody's paying attention to anything. So then once you get into January, you're trying to get their attention, to get them to buy the tickets and do all that stuff, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's a lot. So, and then you're butting up against Black History Month, Women's Month, there's just like,
There's a slew of stuff.
it's just, I was so sick of events by the end of March.
So if we do it in June though, or something,
I don't know.
Weddings, graduations,
exactly.
Maybe it's May or it's April, I don't really know, but which,
When do we do it again? February, so.
we did it the last day of February this year, which was the 28th.
maybe it's April. And we don't wanna be in Women's History Month, cause it's just too much crap, and we're not a women's history thing. So, maybe it's April?
Maybe say first weekend after Memorial.
June?
June?
I mean,
June runs into
a lot.
playoffs
Vacations.
and,
Travel.
travel, school end, vacations. April, we, I'm cool.
April things really kinda settle down. And you can have a chance to live on your own. I
Yeah,
mean,
rain.
you can have,
Spring cleaning.
you can have the opportunity
Stay
to
ready.
be in your, the one that's taking up the space
April.
versus with everybody else, stuck in everybody else's stuff, cause what's left in April? Africa thing is in April, there hasn't been much.
Your deposit due for Cincinnati Music Festival.
Yeah, right, so April is a good time, plus it's springtime, everybody doesn't have to be
Easter.
in
sometimes.
Sometimes it is, it's so weird.
Oh, sometimes it's in March.
Yeah,
Was that March last year?
it moves.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Why, what is the number, how is it the date of what?
Passover and
Passover
Ramadan.
changes.
First week.
It's supposed to.
Because of the moon, okay.
So next Easter is April 5th,
Which is
which
weird.
is way earlier than.
Which is
Yeah.
weird, last year was March 31st.
Right.
So
This
what, and
one
then it
was
went to
like
the
that.
end of April, and then it bounces back to the beginning of April, which is weird, cause why doesn't it bounce back earlier in March? Sometimes it's been as early as like March
Well,
21st or over.
that's
It
what I
doesn't
remember.
make any sense, right? So you can't do stuff based around Easter. But I didn't see a hat this year
No.
at
Church was
church.
small church.
And a
I
church.
left my hat. I didn't even wear a hat. I was like.
I didn't see one, well, the two ladies that always wear a hat, right? So, Mother Strickland and the other lady, three, cause Lady Bishop had on a hat. That was it. They always have on a hat. There was no other hats. There was no little girls with gloves or anything. There was lots of little kids and they had the whole program and everything, right? They had the Easter,
But no hats.
and we had the Easter parade and all that stuff. And I was like,
What's changed?
what's happening? But apparently that's not.
It's a terrible hat.
Hmm?
That's a terrible hat.
I just was they wearing hats at your church this year?
But it was very few. I mean, I didn't even think about it until you said
It rained though,
Well, so it should have some hats on.
it.
They don't wanna ruin their hands.
but they could
I
have.
don't think
Or
people
they
had.
silk hats with the organza.
Yeah, that stuff would be ruined.
I wasn't even thinking about wearing one
Do
though.
They wear hats when it rains.
But it didn't cross my mind. I have a whole closet full. I have all my mom's hats. Yeah, 103.
I have a lot of hats too, but I don't wear so much right
Yeah.
now.
I think we gotta wrap it.
Really?
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Don't you have a toilet?
So did we decide to
No,
do
it's
April?
You said April for the stay ready.
For stay ready.
Something,
Because it's, 2 o'clock.
Stay ready
No,
playbook.
no. April is
or the impact board.
Impact.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
So April 26th is Impact Board. Stay ready. We're still not sure.
Okay.
We were saying
If we were gonna
earlier
do
part of the
something
year.
like, if you're gonna do something like stay ready, if you wanna do it at the beginning of the year or
Right.
something like that, that might make sense.
Yeah,
To do it, you know, I mean, cause it's inside, it's a.
Yeah, she was saying just she was
take
worried. about
advantage
speaking
at
up.
the end of the
It's
year.
a-
But I think you're right because then you have them spread out though. If you do it at the beginning of the year.
They're not really spread out in the way that I just looked at it.
Well, I think that was Kennard's point, is like,
October.
stay ready, so like,
January.
Oh, you're saying put. What would you
What's
put,
October?
Black
Dandy,
Halloween.
Black Dandy. So you got Black Dandy in October. You got Impact in April. Stay ready. If you put it in January, you got like
Well,
3
you
months.
gotta
between
look at the
two.
quarters, right? So you have 4 quarters, so one is in Q1, one is in Q2.
One's in
One in
Q4,
Q4.
Q1, and then
Well,
Q6.
so-
One.
Drop Black Dandy in between Q3 and 4, like cuspish, so it's earlier October, it's
So
not.
like the first part of October versus.
And then you
the
drop the other one back towards late January.
end. So now you got like almost 4-ish months.
Right, move that one.
And then push
You
the
can
other
do
to
the other one
end.
in there or May, you know, somewhere in between
Like the
April
last
and
part
May.
of April, the early part of May, now you're almost.
Now you got some space.
You got enough time to push it. Okay. And then you got, but see, the cool part is now that you have these 3 events, plus your drop on events, whatever. Now you put them to your sponsorship, they see whether they're activated throughout the year or they pick which one they wanna be activated.
Wait, is there anything in May?
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day and Memorial.
Keep saying Mother's Day. It's not a big.
It's a big holiday.
Yes, it is, Cheryl, why are you saying
It's
it's
the
not?
biggest holiday in the United States.
It's on a
Next to Christmas.
Sunday.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
on a
People-
Sunday.
But it does
fly
impact-
to their
But we're
mothers'
talking
house.
about money, people are spending money in it and doing dinners and the.
What does that have to do with doing an event? I'm talking about events. Is there events? Does anybody do events in May?
Not that I-
No, it's
Mother's Day does not shut down the whole month of May. I just know this for a fact. That having had mothers, had grandmothers, been a mother, daughter's a mother, it don't shut down nothing, huh?
It does not shut down the entire month of May. You can
Doesn't.
choose May. And I mean, personally, I think the weather starts to be better. to
I'm
do
talking about
something.
events wise, yeah, what
Right.
happens, it doesn't shut down the, no, so now we're thinking, right?
Mhm.
So, who has an event in May?
That's what I was thinking.
Pam Blackman has an event in May, which is the
Something bomb.
Derby.
Oh, the Derby.
It's a derby event. That's
Derby
all
Day
it's
is in May.
Mm.
Mother's Day does not stop Derby Day. Derby Day keeps going, right?
Derby Day. is
She
great.
has a thing and it has, everybody goes out to the Arlington track and everybody wears their hats and they get all dressed up and they go to the Arlington racetrack and watch the Kentucky Derby on the TV, I believe. Or no, they have some races that go on at the Arlington racetrack, or they did, I'm not sure what's happening with the Bears, but, it should be next week, so. I haven't seen anything come out about that either, have you? I haven't seen any
No.
invites for that,
For what, her thing?
yeah.
Mm-mm.
I see Halloween Masquerade Ball fundraiser.
But the reason,
Kentucky Derby Day 24. I don't see a 25.
Right, cause it's usually at Arlington,
what's going on with the Bears right now?
but I don't,
I think they
No, the
can-
reason I asked is because that's why Tacoma wasn't there yesterday, cause he had to do something with the Bears. So I was like, what's going on?
I think May might be good. I don't know of anything that happens in May that could detract from it.
By the time we get to the Impact Awards, we will have had 2 majorly successful events. At that point, it shouldn't even matter.
So then the Impact Awards should be.
Because they gonna wanna pull up.
Yeah,
Because
and then roll into the next event.
that's how, ideally, that's how it should work, right?
Yeah.
Because
you want May,
I'm good with end of April, May, whichever. I just put April, May 26th because, again, we control the deadline, so I don't know.
So you can pick the day, but now you know the time frame.
right, so is that gonna be, well, it could be, this is Impact Awards.
So Impact Awards is end of April, early May. Which then can push the Stay Ready back into the last part of January, which would mean that you'd have like somewhere around maybe 90 days between Black Dandy and Stay Ready, which is enough time to not be trying to focus on 2 events at the same time.
Yeah, and Stay Ready is a whole different
Yeah,
feel, it's a whole different vibe, it's a whole different level of what you have to do.
it's more like
Right.
film production and attendance.
So the thing that would be very helpful,
Tickets to just sit in the
So
seats.
sit down.
the big thing that'll be very helpful to put together your sponsorship is to figure out what you think the cost is gonna be for each of these events, what the profit could be, and what the production's going to require.
Right.
Because once we know that, then you can actually put the sponsor packages together.
Yes.
Because then you can say, what does it going to cost for them to get it, and what are they gonna get as a result of it?
So I think our targets for that would be like BMO Bank, right? Or Wintrust Bank, or both,
For both.
for
For
different,
just in general, you said the
for
state.
Stay Ready.
Stay ready, okay.
Prudential,
Oh, absolutely.
AXA Advisors, you know, looking in cranes and,
And so that would be a good idea, to take the event and make a list of what those potential avatars would be. Cause then once you do that, you also can figure out why would they see what the value is. Cause your value should start to be consistent across the board.
oh, you have to find out when any of Christie's doing the.
She bid.
It's gonna
April.
be
You said
in
it's,
April.
beginning of April, to April 12th weekend, I think. Something like that.
So, yeah, then for Black Dandy, who will we be looking at? Jaguar, Cadillac,
Yeah, like that's what I missed.
Bourbon Company,
Woodford.
Woodford Reserve, yeah, that would be nice, or Uncle Nearest, if we have it early enough, right?
You guys have a CRM?
Who else? I was just thinking of a whole bunch of people, and then
You
it
guys
just
have a
came up,
CRM?
CRM. Oh,
Customer Relationship Management System.
I'm not sure.
no, ma'am, we're us.
We-
This is what we got, we got us.
We
Excel.
don't use it. We have to
Listen,
Excel.
okay, he hear me. I'm
We don't,
sorry.
I use Asana with our,
No, I'm not talking about the sign, that's project
I
management.
don't like Asana either.
it's disgusting.
I don't, I use Trello.
No, I don't have a
But-
CRM.
I'm saying, the reason I'm asking is because all of these great names are popping out, right? And you can probably, and Trello you can do for free. Trello's super free. You can create all of these inside of there, that you can track all of these great under the avatar,
You know, like
industry. But you can use, well, either that, you can get a Excel
Or
sheet,
Salesforce.
or not Salesforce, it costs too much. But,
Nobody likes
It is,
using
but-
Trello.
No, that's what I, you see, go like this.
We had it, everybody hated it.
I like it, I use it all the time.
Only Danielle liked Trello.
What's that other one that's,
Slack,
Slack.
which one were you talking
I'm
about?
trying to think what the name was, is Monday?
Yeah, Monday.
Monday.
It doesn't matter, what I'm saying is that between now and building this out, we have to get some system,
So
Because-
it's a handout.
because we don't wanna have a gap.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can get all of these guys in the system, you can start to track who you reach, who you didn't reach, who you need to follow.
Because the deer is not gonna, the deer be just.
Absolutely.
Did I miss it? Did I miss it?
No, but that's why you need one that's, because if you have 5 people doing sales and you don't have a system, all these people are gonna be doing whatever they're
Running
doing.
into each other.
And that's not something that going forward, that is not something you want to.
True, but you said, do we have one?
Yeah, my question was, do you have one? You said no, so then we have to figure out
We were
which
like, we
one.
hate that.
And, yeah, everybody
We
said
got
no.
one with Excel and WhatsApp. I would think, right.
No, I just
No,
don't.
no, it's too complicated. Let's use WhatsApp.
There is
Well,
another,
the organizations that we were dealing
I mean, it's
with,
HubSpot too.
there is one that,
oh,
what
that
is
big
the,
Slack.
what is
It's
the-
Monday is the one that's a lot
Oh,
easier. It's
yeah.
pretty
Is
user
it Monday?
friendly.
That's the
Field.
name that I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
It's either Monday or Honey or something like that.
Honey, go.
Honey, I think it's called.
Something like that.
Then there's something else, I see it all the time, when
One
next
of the
time I
two
pop
of
up,
that
I'll click
commercials,
on
I
it.
think I
It's
know what you're
least,
talking
it's very, it's inexpensive, but it works.
Whose charger is this?
I feel like it's gonna be
I could
HubSpot.
have been using it the whole time.
But either way,
Right.
I'm just saying, you
No,
know,
I
that's
do want
just-
y'all to know that I'm.
so that as you start pulling these names down,
Now I just hit.
you
He's
don't just pull
retired?
the names down.
He's
They
retired.
say
Right,
retired.
now I'm
Okay.
gonna start creating my own.
So who's
Okay.
gonna, did he
Who's
endorse
gonna
someone
win?
upon his retirement?
He isn't retiring, like leaving, he's just not running, he's retiring, he's not running again.
He's not in
Yeah, so it should be next year or whatever, which I'm pretty sure it's next year, right?
When are y'all
Yeah.
going to Tyrone's party in Monday? Campus.
But
Technically, I guess I could.
who's
but I
running
forgot
for
I was
her? Who's running for that seat? It's gonna be Julia
Stratton.
Market. Clock it, isn't that what they say?
I guess that's what I say.
Now that we have the three
Y'all didn't hear people.
events, the only other thing I think you wanna talk about is the drop-in events.
Mm-hmm.
The drop-in events are ones that I would call like a rinse and repeat, that can be done maybe a couple times a year, like the car,
Quarterly cover party?
whatever, a summit, or something that's small that doesn't require a lot of production.
Mm-hmm.
Could potentially be held here,
Mhm.
but it's something that they can put money to. So,
Uh-huh,
like a summit or an executive talk, or, you know, what type of event. But the reason I'm saying was get those on the front end. Your sponsorship package has to tell them what to pay them for.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you guys start going to find the people, you already know what you have to sell. Just, if you know what you have to sell, you're like, you know you need this phone.
That's right, it's right in front of you.
You need this phone because
Mhm.
guess what it does,
Mhm.
right? But if you don't have a phone, how can you sell the phone?
Correct.
So, and I know you guys don't want a lot of things throughout the year, but let's pick. Let's say it's 2, you know, we got the quarters. What quarter do we not have an event in? That's an easy event.
well, we have a holiday party in December,
People pay for that?
huh?
People pay for that?
No,
No.
it's our thank you to them.
Okay, this
Well,
is,
I can't, well,
They didn't pay
I
for the last.
can, they didn't, but that doesn't mean they can't.
I'm
There's a
not
difference.
being,
Right,
I'm just
there's a
saying that
difference.
it could be a paid event that's
Sure.
sponsored by, but
Sure, well, we did have some
Sponsors.
sponsors, we had
Yeah.
food sponsors, we had beverage sponsors or whatever, we didn't have money sponsors this time. But you can, we
would
just
you like to
had,
have money sponsors for it?
of course, we always wanna have money sponsors for everything. So it was just, we just didn't have, I mean, we didn't have time to even
We
think
had
about
time,
it, it
but-
was, literally me going, I think we should have a Christmas party. Cause we're in here, we're finishing it was a, it was a celebration year.
And that can definitely be one.
It ended up being wildly popular.
So that means bring it back.
Therefore, and it,
We
so
had
it
to
needs
put them
to.
out is what she means to go.
You ain't got to
It
go
was
home.
full, it was full.
I mean,
people, too.
seriously.
I was
would've been
tired.
hard.
But it was
Tired.
interviewed so many people.
Huh?
Y'all was working me in that podcast
It was-
studio. I was hot.
And it was fun, and it was whatever, but I'm thinking this year, I wanna do it in here and
outside.
out here,
Mhm.
and maybe,
Have
line
some tea.
the lane with some trees,
And turn it
Christmas
into a
trees.
Christmas event.
Can we do
Seating
the
is-
red Melanias? No, I'm just
Sure.
I love those.
I did too. I
thought
actually
it was
did
really
too.
nice. I was like, actually, they're sharp. I like
They were.
it.
I don't
It's
like
a
it in
lot.
the White House, but it was.
I think it was too much for the location,
For
but
sure.
I did like it though.
But the,
I was like,
but
okay,
the style was
Melania,
on
see,
point.
with the
She was
red.
on point.
Did
Right.
you walk in that aisle with the red? Oh, that was a look.
Right, but if we,
Okay.
we decorate out here, and we've got the speaker out, so music and everything is in and out, and we
Okay.
have a bigger space to
Hold all
have,
people.
yeah.
Which means that if it was full last time,
It was pretty full in
Oh,
here.
it's gonna be full this
so
year,
it's gonna
I'm
be next
sure.
level.
I don't know that we are. I think we keep skipping the CNW anniversary,
What is that?
like
That's in
their
September.
actual anniversary.
Oh, that's right.
We
I don't know
we
anything
keep
about this.
not doing anything when it happens. I mean, we do an issue. We did an issue, but that was
How many years?
3.
This year will be 3, right?
So.
Yeah, cause it published first in 22. Started.
That could be an annual event.
What would we gain, what do we wanna get out of that annual?
Jumbles.
Say it again. Dollars, mucho
So that's what I'm
dinero.
saying, is that,
Do a client
that's where that
centric
special
event.
look would come
That would,
from.
that would be a good idea.
Courting strictly clients.
See, that's what I was saying earlier.
That would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
That would be what.
I don't
that's
wanna have
what
a-
we would
Be my
like.
guess.
You wanna do an annual, like book with all the cover stories in it and have people
I feel like that should be cool.
have ads in there, I don't.
Say this again too.
Just thinking about a thing
That's it.
where we can court clients, like
maybe.
they're our guests.
about
We
annual.
Yeah.
invited them
Like
to
a be my guest.
be my guests, and cocktails and
For sure, we should do that.
street for them, but
How
I need some business.
how
How often?
I would love this.
a client
Essentially see a
picture.
quarter, that would be like a quarterly thing in my mind, essentially.
Right.
But I mean, it doesn't have
Here?
to be.
Central client
You
focus.
can be here as often as you want it to be
It
here.
could be here.
Yeah.
You have to, when it's here,
You can be as often as you do.
Now, I
Right.
mean, obviously there's some advantages for it being out of the space as well too. Like, hey, it's happy hour. I mean, it's a couple ways to package.
But
So
then
what
it's
if
less
it's a-
open house if it's outside of
That's
here,
what I said,
right?
what if it is the quarterly event, but it's the quarterly car thing she was talking about, and it moves from car dealership to car dealership?
but that's not for the advertisers.
But it could be. It could be an opportunity where they get to see what you do,
It could be.
and the advertisers get to get the benefit of the people,
It could be.
and you get, so it's an invitation
And the
that you
dealer
can
gets-
invite them to.
Right. And the dealer gets both the, B2B and B2C
Right.
participation. It could be. That could be a pretty nice.
Conversation in cars.
That'd be huge, actually. I can see that.
It
being
could be,
like
it could be
exclusive.
conversation in cars, whatever you do, I mean, I'm just saying that it could be where that way the sales team has a place where they always know it's gonna happen,
Right.
and they can invite their people, which means that both the avatar and the heroes would get to see the way CW Media does what they do.
Now, this is at the car event?
I'm just saying, it could be the car event, cause it would be something that happened on a
Yeah.
regular basis every quarter.
Mhm.
So you wouldn't have to try to do it, every month, but once a quarter you did it,
Mhm.
and then you'd already know that's going to happen, and now you have this quarterly event that happens at the car dealerships, maybe, you know, the jewelry sponsor, they do the whole year, cause they're like, I wanna be at every one of these, so they do 4 of them. You know, and the liquor sponsors, like, I wanna do all 4. But then you can always bring in an avatar, so they can see the activation, they can see the people are there, you can always invite more of the heroes and they can come. So you're getting all of them in one place, but it's a regular reoccurring event. So it's a Be My Guest event, but it's also an
I
active
think
event.
it loses its, if you're doing it regularly. I don't know.
So what, being exclusive?
I don't know if it's about being exclusive, but not being exclusive. I don't think you lose that, but I think it's like, oh, I don't need to go this week. I go this month I'll go next. I don't know.
I don't know, I'm just putting it out there. None of this,
Well,
Well, it
normal.
shouldn't be the same people all the time anyway.
and if it's a different car dealer,
And it should be an invitation event.
Okay, there,
It's
that's
invitation.
different.
Yeah.
That makes it
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And the ask is even very different to the partner at this point. It's like,
Correct.
wow, absolutely, I wanna partner with you to bring and drive traffic. I mean, now it's a marketing,
Yeah,
it truly is
so
a,
if
it's an
once,
alignment.
if once every quarter, we're gonna bring 100 people or 75 people
Mhm.
into your showroom.
Yeah, we wanna wine and dine.
Boom.
Okay.
I mean, here's a,
People are buying cars too. so-
That makes
that's a
sense.
no-brainer,
Right.
right? And then you have whatever, the watch people, or
Yes.
whoever, and they're there and they've got a
Yes.
little thing set up, and we're gonna have 75 people that are in this thing, and you can showcase your watch, you know what I mean, and they can,
Mhm.
whatever, yes, we'll have security. We're gonna have, 75 people tasting your Woodford Reserve, sitting
Now
there
we're
sipping
talking.
on their
That's what it
drinks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're gonna have your cigars and
and
There's
it's
a
only,
guy,
it's a
yeah.
Be My Guest, so you're not, if you
small,
aren't invited, you
small
are not
price
there.
of,
No.
$5
That makes
grand
sense. We're
each.
going to do
Right.
dealerships.
Mhm.
costs us $5 grand for the experience.
Right, and the.
That's a
and
lot
so
per person, but look.
So
figure
the,
out
so,
what this
so the
is.
dealer is like, but if they sell 2 cars as a result of that event,
Right.
that quarter, they
Mhm.
made all of their money back.
Right,
Right, so we have to look at what the
to think about what
the cost would be on that, but,
Mhm. And it gives you a regular reoccurring event that you can always invite your potential partners to, your potential heroes to, and so they know,
Yeah.
this is, and it's a CNW event.
Mhm.
So,
I like that,
And we capture
it's a nice funnel.
it there. We get to interview people, you know what I mean?
yeah.
On the
And
red
then you get
carpet
all,
this
and then you
time.
get all the content that goes digital and print.
No more brats.
And then once they see it,
Well, what's our color? We can call it
Absolutely.
blue carpet.
Now they wanna be on.
Whatever we
Yeah.
can do, we
Photos,
should do that.
everything. Yeah.
photo opportunity,
Shame.
digital content, yeah.
Or white
Cars,
carpet. I don't care
that's-
what black carpet.
How
How about we
about
have
that?
two? we
Green
have
carpet
How about we
for
have
Motion.
2 brown
Yeah.
tufted chairs? And we sit in the chair.
silver carpet.
So between now and our next time,
that would be a nice thing to do also.
the silver carpet.
No, something at a showroom in the merchandise mart.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if there's a black furniture designer or a black a home decor brand that's in the merchandise mart, that would be a nice thing to be able to do too. That would be a very nice exclusive
And then a lot of,
CNW Lux event.
you
Yes.
know what might be interesting on that show?
That would be
is
really cool.
if,
Yes,
uh,
sure,
if
that
you
would
did it with the mart, and then have them bring the designers that they wanna showcase.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the mart
Do
does
that
it,
too.
then the mart gives you like,
Everything.
When is their fashion week? Hold on. But Chicago Fashion Week. That's the only thing I think that's gonna mess up October.
what, Chicago Fashion Week?
Mm.
And not really. Chicago's not into
I
it
thought
like
it was
New
in
York
December.
or LA. They're not into it.
Did you go to the last one?
Which one?
Wait, last year?
How many people in
There, it's 10 days. That's
It's
what I'm saying.
massive.
It's a big.
It's not, it's not New York, but it ain't,
They
there?
blew
I
it
just
up.
never really see a whole lot about it.
Oh, because it was just last year was the first one, but it is
Oh.
very large. Did you hear what I just said?
Yeah.
So that's important to the story, cause it's
So-
ending.
So I'm saying, so if we think about these now, so now we're at the Be My Guest, that's what I'm just call it, I don't know what the name of it is. You got your Be My Guest, which is a drop-in quarterly event. You got your 3 signature events. You got your holiday party. And your anniversary, event. That's a lot.
So,
Now your calendar is completely full.
it's,
The thing that needs to happen now is each of these events needs to be flushed out.
mhm.
We need to know cost, production, a tentative date of when it's going to happen, so you get an events calendar. And when you get an events calendar, you also are able to now look at your budget and then drop in what you wanna make on it into your sponsorship packages. And your partnership, I didn't mean to say sponsorship, I'm sorry, your partnership packages.
So do we have to look at anniversary, do we say anniversary or Christmas?
Christmas.
Definitely.
So no anniversary?
No, it's 2, it would be right, they would bump up
That's in
on each
September.
other.
The anniversary is in, no, we did say something, we said
Oh,
about maybe
see.
doing an open house for.
Oh, so
House
quick in
here.
the crib,
It's held inside of here.
in the crib.
Mm-hmm. And then do the Christmas party, which would also be here, but extended. Mm-hmm.
So, but those could also double as,
You might guess the bits
be
too.
my, yes, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Imperative,
I'm saying the cars is cars of conversation, just so that we know. Cause the Be My Guest events can be that annual party, it can be the Christmas party. So you know what those are. And then you got your 3, so that's total of 6. Is that what we are? 6 events?
Mm.
In total? You got 3 drop-in.
Yes.
6 events.
How'd you get 6?
You got your 3 signature.
Three, holiday anniversary is 5. And
How
then
many
the-
are
then the
motivated?
3
And then
conversation and cards is quarterly, so that's 4, so 7. No,
I missed one.
4,
Oh.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, are we counting the conversation and cards as one, like the series?
It's a series, but just, I'm saying, cause it'd just be a rinse and repeat.
Okay, okay.
So that would just be really just one
Just
event,
one.
but it's 4 times a year.
Okay, so 6.
So 6 total event types, and then the conversation with cars is 4 a year. So that way you got them coming every quarter. Once you craft the design, you're just gonna drop it into whatever location it is. That makes sense?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
so someone needs to be in charge, just one person. I mean, the planner, the plan crew.
Oh yeah, you're gonna need a planning team.
So- Alright,
Go ahead.
alright. No, it's okay.
This too much? What do you say?
No, I had some ideas about other things.
Okay, so bring other things. This is all
No, we
conversation.
can't, because we gotta get to production.
So then what you need to do is, these are the things
That's
we
why I
come
said,
up
yeah,
with.
I was just,
Just put them together, and then what you don't want, this is just what's come to the table. What you don't want, weed them out, cause that's what has to be broken out.
Mm-hmm.
The actual events, they have to have production timelines and costs. And profitability,
Timeline, projected price.
yeah. So now you should have a calendar,
We can try to print one out.
What?
Laura.
Mm.
I could not get your name. My brain just said, no, what's her name?
You said timeline,
Production
that's the word I need.
and cost.
Mm-hmm.
Cause the production,
What?
you could have, you could reach out to a couple of
Oh,
bid prices
Mm.
and ask them to do an estimate. So then you don't have to do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Plus you need to know, cause you're not gonna do
away.
it. So if you gave a
And then
name to
it's
the bid
May.
planner, they can give you an estimate on the cost and they can actually do the research on possible locations.
Mhm.
So then you don't actually have to do it, they can go through and figure out what would be the best location for it, and then come back with suggestions.
For sure. Why is outside so
Loud.
outside?
This is just life in the inner city.
Alright, so now we are halfway there.
Halfway there.
A little further behind than I wanted us to be today, but I think that with Cheryl's other potential events, you guys should look at what she has compared to what we've given as the 6. Make a final decision on what's gonna be the actual events. And then that list that you have here, Laura, in terms of production and cost and timeline, and get an events calendar that has at least the tentative dates, now that you know the months that you want those to be in. Cause then that will give you what the flow is, and that includes doing the cards and conversations. Because the cards and conversations hit every quarter, so you need to make sure that they don't bump into something else.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll leave that 8:48. Okay, so let's just, next week, we are not here. Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Right, or, yeah, is it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
Uh-huh.
We are in Evanston at Northwestern. Journalism school. Then the week after that, now what is your normal day? Is it normally
It's
Thursday or
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind then.
You know?
Cause next week was supposed to be our last week, but
So
we have to move it back 1 week.
So that puts us on the 6th of May.
Mhm.
Here. So we put it on the 6th of May, we should be, that is going to actually put us, if you guys are able to do this before the meeting and get it to me, then we can slot it into the sponsorship package.
What our board, our,
Events and
What
Events.
the events are and the cost. And I just said to Laura to have, if you could potentially ask an event planner to give you production costs, it will help you guys. Cause there's no sense in you doing this, cause you're not doing that.
I don't know.
Hello?
You giving it to the 30th?
Can you hear me? So I'll be back on the 6th, and that will give you plenty of time to flush this all the way out.
today was the heart.
Well, this is the heartbeat, it's the money, that would make sense.
Today was the hardest?
No, she said this was the heart.
Did you get all of
My
the
little heart.
carefully crafted social media cards and language that I sent you? And the newsletter?
No,
I don't
what did you
feel like you're checking your email.
She has so many email, I don't know what email to send anything.
And I just be sending stuff and I'm like, maybe this one, I don't know.
I was in my email, I didn't see anything. No. I'm looking, I'm gonna look right now.
You know what, when you said that, you know what I'm thinking? Diane probably sent it to my committee, I was gonna do that for my,
Yeah, so.
my thing.
Did it come from
computer
Laura?
went out.
Laura, did you say, was your email, was it under Laura?
SCW?
Okay.
I have to have sent it either Wednesday
Nothing
or
there.
Thursday.
Okay, so
It's for the,
that was under the Dr. Sakara.
it's probably that one. I might be in your spam because Outlook doesn't like people.
Okay, there's Laura Miller, CNW, so let's see what we got. See when you said I can't find my homework.
Nope, that one.
Oh.
I was like, did you see all that hard work? Answer me.
He said, Anthony, what's wrong with you, lady? You can call me and say, lady, what's happening with you? Doing all this hard work, you ain't even answering.
I got like flyers that you can literally post and verbiage that you can
Oh my
say.
goodness!
Ah,
Oh, isn't that cute? Look at my face. Oh, that's so cute. Most people don't plan to thrive through crisis. I help people, powerful people do the inner work that makes their outer world unshakable. Wow, thank you, Laura.
that's teamwork. That dad did some of it, most of it.
Well, I love it. You know, I'm working on this. Well, so you know what? This summer.
Where's Amber?
She texted me and said she got tired
Saw
of.
the caption options with your photos. Yeah, you just post it and be like, hey, share this. I mean, the newsletter.
Oh my goodness. I feel special. You got a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. Listen, she's my favorite person. And I'm gonna hug her. And we need to figure out what restaurant we're gonna go to next week because we gotta hang out. And I'm gonna walk to the place.
Oh, it just gave me a quick summary.
Yeah.
No,
They're
phone,
like, oh
my
yeah.
phone just gave me a quick
Gemini
summary.
is in everybody's
It's
business.
all in
They
your
really need to
business.
stop.
What in the world?
We need to quit.
But this is what this is. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so you can use
You even
that.
gave me
A
my
lot of
email.
people that are getting into
I'm
the,
scared of you. You gave me pre-written email, so I don't have to fight.
a lot of people that are getting in the, governor's race.
What
I
are we
mean,
just
the Senate race, whatever you want.
When is,
Next year.
let's go back. When does that normally start? From
Now.
site, really?
It's about to start, yeah. It's
It's about to
gonna
be,
be, that seat has not been open for 30 years.
oh, wow.
Oh, Big Durbin, yeah, he been like
Has
all
it been
like.
that long?
It's about to be
Oh,
ad
like he's
season.
been the senator all along.
Oh, that's right, cause it's,
I didn't.
oh my goodness, yeah.
Well, primary's not gonna be till this time next year,
Right.
but,
They in my coat pocket.
Oh man, I managed
when was he,
this.
2023? Was he 2023? Yeah, 2023, 24, 25, 26,
So you
27.
really did
So
like
that's
that.
not till 27.
I love
It was
it.
congressional, and the gubernatorial,
Okay.
No, I think it's
right, which is where we started out. And there's the governor's race
How
next
to
year too.
allow us to
I gotta go
actually
send her
find a
We
way
got
to market
Senate
in
and
a
all
way
the
that
congressional,
people understand, so
and
they can't,
we have state and local races,
because
House,
you're already
Senate,
over their head.
Should
when you say
do
this
some
is like college.
county races.
Look, I had a guy stop me on the street yesterday and said, he was like, well, what are you doing? I said, I'm a psychologist. And he said,
And then,
See, you over their head. You already there.
just jumped right over.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so funny, cause his little face was like,
Cause then you could like, I don't want you to diminish any of your titles, but like if you said corporate strategy coach, that is a psychologist. That's probably easier to understand in business.
listen, I'm listening to it.
These people literally don't read books. Okay? I don't know how many times I keep telling you they don't read books. And I was telling this lady, I can't remember who it was, but I was like, you wanna know how distressing, oh no, it was David, I was telling him last night. I said, you know how distressing it is? You know where the compliments come for the cover story I write? That cover photo is amazing. You didn't even open it. You don't know what I said. You telling me how good he looked on the cover. Are you kidding me? You don't know what I said?
Yeah, you taking the time to read.
This man cried, okay? He cried. The cover from 2 weeks ago, she cried. You know why? Because I'm creating a story based on the life that they have led, where they're going and where they are. That is an emotional experience. And you mean to tell me the biggest compliment that I get is, ooh, the cover photo is nice?
You didn't read the
People do
words.
not read. They don't read. So business psychologists, they're not reading.
This I know, I've been doing
So
it.
I'm probably sure you get questions like, well, do you prescribe drugs? Do you give them drugs?
I don't wanna be on the couch because you're gonna start analyzing.
I don't want to sit on a couch. Don't therapize me. Cause you see, I used to be
Girl,
a
that's
communications
the one I
director
hear
at
the
a
most.
therapy practice,
Please
right?
don't therapize.
Are you gonna therapize me? That's not even a word. Get out of my face. Therapize? I don't.
Therapize.
Therapize.
No, you said therapize.
Therapize.
That's, no, she didn't say that.
What'd she say?
Therapize.
Therapize. Ooh, that's pretty funny.
Whoa, people get really upset. Oh, you gonna shrink my brain? You're not gonna shrink me.
Stop analyzing me.
Mm-hmm.
I was just looking at you.
That's actually how your day was going. Relax.
Still, you know.
I used to get it, and I was literally in communications at the therapy practice, and they would be on me like, "Oh no, you not. I'm not about to talk to
Black
you."
press matters.
I'm not even a
That's-
therapist.
But that's because people fear what's going on in their own head. This has nothing to do with us. It has to do with what they know is going on in their own head.
It's ridiculous.
That's the uncomfortability. Is what
Oh.
they're dealing with.
Huh?
Kelsey Yogi.
Oh, Lena?
Kelsey,
That's her.
she posted her stuff.
Oh yeah, I shared it. Marlon got the worst picture of me. Why she keep sharing it and tagging me? Did y'all see that picture? Y'all look great. I look scary. And I never take a scary picture.
And you look scary.
Frankly. Cause it's like, I'm like licking my lips or something, like I'm in the middle of doing something actively. So whoever took that picture is a hater. Never mind.
I didn't say it. Yeah, I did say it.
Still want
This is like the type of
bring it
person.
to that sofa, want to try to move that.
So,
Do I look like I think
Come
I'm
on.
being, now come on. Did you
put anything,
You're out of
I did not
glasses.
put anything in writing.
you want to?
Oh, you can see the ones I was going to wear when I was
Can.
going to wear
Okay,
glasses.
just send me
It's so cute.
anything,
I
whatever,
remember
whatever you take.
these, this pair, I don't know what these are. These are my regular ones.
Whatever,
I can't.
and,
They probably left them somewhere.
No. we're okay, we got a little bit of time, we got it, I know we just got.
Because again, that's an elevator.
On this.
I understand.
You see what I'm saying? Like, if you give me in a bad shot, you're a hater. Like, I be ready all the time. That's true. I'm always ready.
Tight is a.
Oh, cuss words. I'm a rapper.
That is gorgeous. I love that.
Oh, so that's okay. It's a three-piece thing I created. So it's like a jumpsuit. I know I'm sure
There's something
shirt.
new tomorrow.
And then I have a big brooch. I put it. I wanted it to be, yeah. I'm sick. Cause he.
Here,
Yes.
oh, okay, well, can you come a little bit before that? Okay.
So I'm so mad.
A little bit before that.
I'm mad.
We'll just do
I'm
that,
taking pictures.
Okay.
and then that, I don't think we're gonna
Teach me how to
probably
take
order
one.
That's
some.
upstairs. You can take that one. It's nice outside. We can go upstairs and get you one.
Sandwiches, cause that's what I'm doing for the
I mean,
evening time too,
I-
or it's
my
some sandwiches
goal was to
delivered
work
from
with
Potbelly's.
and
And
I
that's,
did a
we're
couple
gonna let
photos
that,
today with other kids.
cause they just, they canceled it and then they put it back on,
Oh, okay.
like right now. So I'm trying to, that's why I was over here being less than as attentive as I should have been, because I'm
I
trying
don't want to
to
sit in the one with those.
see how many people
Right.
can now put it back on
I
their
didn't like all the shows.
calendar and
You
come,
do
let's see what we got so far. We got,
That's not what
Carl,
Well,
it's,
it's for.
and I need to make some phone calls on that too.
Mm.
And I would.
Carl and Eric said yes.
Why hasn't Sharon called me?
And he
From the
was
client to
coming,
perform?
alright, let me see,
I'm in pain.
I think they
What
should
is it?
wait until.
That's what I thought. That's what I was like. Maybe it's too early to book a
However,
book performer.
She's doing that
um,
now.
I'm about to take her
No,
really.
that's actually not
I'm not
done
before
yet.
I go. We're going to come.
Don't get smoked.
I'll ask you
I'm like,
about-
man, put in Peter Jericho name.
So children,
Not even doing a lot of
Music, like anything that you feel like it's been synonymous with, like,
You have the right.
you know, music content.
That's right.
things we were pushing there, whether it be like, you know, I figure about charge, just in the past fires in the city that
We haven't done anything
But I am.
that I
No,
don't think so.
okay. I'm thinking of proposing something like a kind of an initial listening to music. He's got a whole new thought around, you know, this kind of Gen Z-esque music that he has. He just told a story more, 43 years, 3,000 kids. And he says he has a ton of corporate sponsorship as well, which I would imagine he does, the popularity. So,
Okay, give me
just wondering if
60.
that's like a, you know, kind of a setup here, all the media, and that's kind of an initial launch, and that kind of vibes into
I mean, like do a press conference?
press conference, music,
Okay.
and
It already goes into
tell some
that.
individual stories.
Yeah, you ain't leave right now, or
More
you?
about that.
About
Okay.
5, 10 minutes.
I'll be back in 6.
Okay.
Got it,
And then what would we just do, like a fee or something like that for
Right.
hosting it?
right,
Oh, yeah, we're $150 an hour.
okay. I'm saying that, and
3
then,
hour minimum.
and then even essentially like a story, or
Yeah, that's
a
not-
story, got it,
Yep.
you got it.
Yeah, we didn't charge Chrissy to do that, but normally that's what it.
Okay.
I have 30 seconds.
Huh?
I have 30 seconds. After 30.
Ma'am, today was very helpful.
Be right back. Everybody, don't look. Stay where you are.
I would say, yeah, let's try to get this stuff wrapped up and do it tomorrow.
Okay,
Were you talking to me?
And, we'll have a crazy next couple weeks though.
okay.
Yeah, I said, ma'am, this was very helpful today.
I'm so glad. I really need you to do some video promotion for me for these strategy sessions because I actually just finished all of the postings for them for LinkedIn, and I would like to have some what do I want to call it? Video shorts to put with them about like how this actually is benefits. Like I wrote some little quips that I want to tell people why they want to do this because so many people don't know that they need to do it, and or they know they need to do it, but because they're used to SWATs, they're like, I don't want to do that. So maybe
Right.
because
That's what I said last time. I was like, this is so much nicer than the old fashioned slot.
which is what people are still doing,
I know they are.
and it's so
But
not.
this got us
sustainable.
much further. This got us much further than when you just basically start out with a SWAT. This we moved much further, much faster, and got straight to the stuff.
Just think that's
We just
really
got
what you
this-
want.
We got the stuff out of here.
And you have to pull your really, my goal is to make you think about your business. Like I tell you, like you're walking around. Cause what really happens is you're walking around and people are like, Bernard, what you do?
Mm-hmm.
That's real. That whole SWAT stuff, that's not telling people what you do. They wanna know, like, why is this a value to me?
Right,
And so you have to be able to say, well, you know what, now what does he look like he's missing? Well, you know how when, as a young boy, you always look at those Corvettes and you thought that they were amazing. That's what it means to be like a boy that he's feeling.
mm-hmm,
That's how you want to talk to people. You want to say, we have the advertising medium that reaches the people that used to wish that they could have Cadillacs. They're like,
yeah, that's that team mumbo jumbo.
I wanna be able to make it so our people talk about their brand and sell more. Period.
I like it.
And sell more. So this is your first time and you've only been here, what, 3 or 4 hours? So what was your feeling of this session? I know you don't know what you came to.
Well, no, it was good. I mean, I had an idea, but you know, just not as familiar with a lot of the work that y'all have been doing. Obviously, not ready to get to today, but no, I loved it. I think it gives me everything I need to know about which direction we're headed in, and haven't been in similar sessions before. But no, I like it a lot. You know, the event piece, I think is huge. Obviously, I would love to have one that's very centric to like sales.
I agree.
We gotta figure out what that looks like. That's the purpose of this, is to
Yeah.
say, but see, here's what I want you to do. Really, if I can help you get one thing, you are not a salesman.
Mhm.
And so you're not looking to be in sales.
Mhm.
You're gonna sell way more
Mhm.
when every person you're talking to, you wanna say, whether, what is it they value?
Mhm.
What is it they're missing?
Mhm.
Or what is it that they feel somebody is in violation of?
Mhm.
So your event, even if it's what you would term a sales event,
Mhm.
is a sales event that's gonna hit those three things.
Right.
Because then they're gonna be like, oh,
Mhm.
that's me.
Right.
Wait a minute, how did you know that was me?
Right.
And that-
Right.
So they're selling themselves,
Mhm.
and you're just presenting them with an opportunity.
I like that. I like that a lot, and I would even, the way I even, I'm describing it to you this way because typically when you are talking to other teams, it's like matchup defense, so to speak, right? You gotta know who to talk to on their team. So sometimes telling you kind of what you do or thinking in a certain way just helps them to figure out and cut through the minutia. And now I know I need to be talking to, you know, head of marketing or HR recruiting / team building.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. Work folks with budgets, essentially.
People with the money, where's the money at?
People with the
And so
money.
when you look at it, if you're even researching the company and you start typing in the vice president of marketing for Neiman Marcus,
Mhm.
if you did a search for that person and they came up, then you look at the events that they've already sponsored,
Mhm.
right? And you ask yourself, why would they sponsor it? Who are they talking to?
Right.
Because they were sponsoring because they're saying that person, our person, is gonna be at that event. Then you go back to our heroes and say, would our people be at that event? And they don't know it because they didn't see it. It's like this whole big hullabaloo that everybody's like, oh my God, Meghan Markle is telling people that she bought these high-end pieces of cookware.
Mhm.
And then when she said it, all these black women showed up on TikTok like, I've been had this, what are y'all talking about?
Right.
Right? And they're like, we didn't even know you guys bought it.
Mm. And that's something? Wow.
We didn't even know. And they're like, there's a whole group of us. Hello? And so that's what I'm saying, that Crusette was missing. All those people, they were buying their product, but they weren't aware they were buying their product. So,
Like you say?
yeah. So what happens here? Le Crusette. Now, that's what CNW does. It's like you've got a
Exactly.
whole bunch of people that you didn't even know
Mhm.
buys your product, and we're gonna show you how to get to it.
Exactly. So could you imagine if we did do something like that in merchandise? Right? We have all these home store, showrooms and all that kind of stuff. And it's just there, we got the designer, we find out who the black designers that are showcasing it there.
Mhm.
And we do like a tour or whatever, or they host a thing
Mhm.
where we can bring the heroes, a group of heroes through,
Mhm.
and they can get to know. Can you imagine the advertising that we can pick up, right?
Yeah.
Because we're going to be starting our home living section,
Mhm.
right? We're gonna living. And what's in it? Or maybe it's a special issue.
Mhm.
Maybe I need some more creative but sales-minded things, and more is that, but she's also, right? So if we say quarterly, that goes with these events. There's a CNW Lux Life special issue,
Special issue.
right? So Lux Life special issue has home, home decor and lifestyle stuff and whatever. We have Dontre Hart, right? And she has her Denim and Damask, her blog or whatever, and she just does this stuff, right? She does this, and we have Black Lion, Elizabeth and those guys, and they've got things that are in there, and talking about decor and this, that, and the other. That's the home section. We've got the Indochino, we might not be able to get them, or we've got all these suit makers and tailors and all this kind of stuff for refined, we've got really nice photography in there, right? We've got the Jaguar, and we've got, you know, the Rivian, and we've got, you know, all these different, in the, what do you drive section, you know what I mean? Or on the road, or beaten path, off the beaten path section, so, you know,
I can see it,
it's
it's
just
just so cool.
watches this, if there's a special issue once a quarter, that's what's like, and then you have the event, right, at the dealership or at the, maybe all four of them are at a dealership, maybe they're not.
Yeah, they don't have to be, but
Maybe
this is-
one of them is at, but we had one, I had one once when we were watching, and it was at Burberry. Burberry opened the whole store for our stuff, and we just had and it was just launching the CD, it was launching CD magazine. And then who hosted it afterwards for the after party, and they had champagne or whatever. And then after that, who hosted the after party? Trump, the spa. I mean, the Trump, the spa at Trump Tower
See.
or whatever, and they had a after thing and whatever that little, whatever was in there, threw a party after that for us, and we didn't. It was like, okay, and then they bought ads in the publication, right?
See, that's what I'm saying.
So we
that-
can do this, we can do it, but I would say that's the way to, I was hearing what you said, right, so we always wanna put them together. But we can do whatever we wanna do.
Right.
It's ours. So if we wanna say, okay, we're gonna do, I would want to do for the Lux edition, or just call it LUX, right? CNW LUX. And, I would wanna put it on a different, of course, on a different coating or whatever. A different coated paper and a different binding, or make it more magazine bind.
That's what I was thinking of earlier when I was trying to think of that coffee table book.
But then it just comes out, yeah.
Right, and then it just comes out,
Right.
and it's a
Then it
it's a
just-
different feel than the newspaper,
Mhm.
but it comes out.
So are you familiar with, Modern, is that Modern Looks? Modern Looks is they
Modern
circulate
Living?
all over downtown, and they circulate downtown,
Yes.
they're free. You can pick them up like at a hotel or whatever,
I know
whatever. I
what you're
know,
talking
like,
about.
for example, for us, right? If we wanted to get CNW, if we did a CNW, if we did a CNW Lux Living or whatever, it wouldn't circulate necessarily
Where you normally.
in our normal jobs. Like,
Okay.
you ain't gonna pick it up at Walgreens, at Go on 95th and Homestead. You just not. I mean, 95th and Stony Island, right? But you can pick it up, I know for sure, at the Hyatt. I know for sure you can pick it up at the Emily. I know you can pick it up at, you know, this restaurant or that, you know, where they'll let us put a thing out in the front and put a stack of them right there. People pick them up and they take them, right? I know you can pick it up at the Jag dealership that's in there. There's gonna be some right there for their customers. There's gonna be, but I know the Hyatt will take whatever we give them, right? And it'll be out in front of the doors of the customers, or they can pick them up at the concierge, it'll be sitting on the thing. So we'll have a different distribution that goes with it, but we can do it.
I like it. I like it.
And that, for us, is what will
I'm sorry.
really super
And I wanna-
elevate our
That's
brand.
gonna elevate the brand, and it's gonna separate you from everybody else.
It's gonna really super duper elevate our brand and put us in a whole nother,
And that's.
that by itself is gonna be the thing that puts us in that. So knowing that, I just gave you this, which is kind of a synopsis of what
Okay.
this is.
Great,
It
thank you.
gives you an understanding of the brand words, whatever, but knowing who, being very clear. We're getting ready to become very crystal clear
Okay.
on who it is, like, our thing is gonna change, it's not gonna be the voice clutch stuff. Right? It's probably, what did I put on there? It's gonna be, it's on there.
That was a voice for culture, commentary, and community, delivered through bold digital storytelling.
news, it's culture in motion. So we might just be Chicago News Weekly, culture in motion.
Yeah.
Could be, we have to figure out what we're gonna do with that, but we were just talking about putting all this together, Laura. So it's those events, those specialty events, those, what were we calling it, BRDF, or what was that called? We
The
called it
the ones
BRDF?
at the cars,
Conversation of cars.
conversation at
Conversation
cars.
Be my guest.
But it's the, be my
Yeah,
guest is the event,
So needs to have something else
cause
tied
we
to
can
it.
have multiple
right?
events under the
So
Be My
if
Guest.
it's CW Lux Life or whatever, right?
Is what you
And
said.
so it has that content that we're talking about, that's just strictly lifestyle, strictly,
CW fashion, and we have like an exclusive